Wow, amazing.
Thank you very much.
Does everyone know what that was? By the stroke of a pen and flanked by many Latin American heads of state, President Trump forms the Shield of Americas, a coalition and initiative that will decimate the cartels and narco-terrorists in our hemisphere. Only Trump could pull this off. Defend the Americas. Evil is powerless if the good are unafraid. Ronald Reagan. Yes. When I first saw this post months ago, people got angry and laughed at me. They're working to make Central and South America to create the Shield of America to destroy the cartels. Christine Ohm just joined the team. No one is laughing now. It's crazy, right? Crazy, right? How's it going, everybody? Who's the 1979 guy behind Trump? I don't know. Who is that? Let's see. Oh, that's you're talking about the guy with the big hair. That's Milei. He's the president of Argentina. The guy with the light blue tie. And then there's Hegseth, and this is on the left over here is El Salvador president Bukele, and then I don't know who the rest of them are. I don't see Scheinbaum. Does anyone see Scheinbaum? Oh, is that Scheinbaum back here? I don't see her. Maybe it's just some other people, but yeah. So that was the big news today. This morning. Everybody, how's it going? Happy Saturday night. Sorry, I'm a little late tonight. I had a bunch of stuff going on today. I don't know if you guys noticed last night. I was taking a bunch of phone calls and texts and stuff going on, so I had some issues I had to deal with today. And so show's going to be a little non-standard tonight. It's going to be a little off. I have some stuff pulled up, but it's I didn't have a chance to actually make a whole show list like I normally do with links and everything, so I'll be doing it on the fly. I have stories pulled up, and I have stuff on Twitter to look at. So it'll be a show, but it'll be a show, I promise. I'll try to make it the best I can. But I want to thank everybody who's here. Please remember, hit the like button if you haven't already. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And like KPT says, you're late. It means I'm on time. Let's see who's here tonight real quick before we get into the other stuff. Kimmy's here. It says, Jimmy, what's up? Kimmy's Dirty Kitchen. Great to see you. Yes, Miss Hacker's here. What's up, Pat? How you doing? Delay is obvious is over here. Spring forward. Yes, it's going to suck tonight. Have to move the clocks forward. Yes. And Ira back here. Cams is here. Have a great evening. I was super late last night, so early tonight. Hit the like, everybody. Yes, that's right. Dan's here. What's up, Dan? How you doing? Jay Marco. KBT. Woohoo. I beat Jim. Yes, you did. Catherine K's here, too. Awesome to see you. Steve Hilliard's here. Awesome. Jonathan Marcus. Great to see you. Hello, check. Good evening, everyone. Lady Bama. Karen. Awesome. Woodtick Mike. Good to see you. And none of your business is here too. All right, so let's get this little bit of business out of the way. Everyone hear me okay? Everything sound good? I hope so. The dignified transfer was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was. Hey, Nanny Goat's here too. What's up, Nanny Goat? But yeah, the dignified transfer. Pam Graham, thanks for being here. Melania and Trump went to take the dignified transfer of the things, and but Trump did not look at his watch the way that Biden did. So there's that. That's good, right? That we didn't have any people looking at watches and stuff. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I'm trying to get this mic in a good position. I don't like seeing it over my head, though. Yes, you sound great. Okay, yeah, happy jump day. Moving forward. Yeah, thanks for being here, Jay Schwalbach. Awesome. I'm gonna walk down the road to get a bag of leaves, so we'll be listening. All right, go do that. What are you doing with the bag of leaves? You making tea? Are they tea leaves? What are you doing? You're gonna read the tea leaves and tell me the future? Maybe the cartel won't let her go. Well, probably. You have ads. I knew I forgot something. Sorry, I will fix that right now. I apologize. My apologies. I always forget to go in and shut it off. You got to wait till after the stream starts. And I forget. It's a feature set up by StreamYard where they automatically turn on the ads, and then I have to turn it off after the show starts. Great. All righty. Yes, it's off. They're off. We're good there. Yes. That's good. All right. Let's, sorry, I got it. They should be off now. Composting. Okay. The ad should be off. Compost bags. Okay. At least we know our VP and Pete Hexes are both military. You can tell by the way they stand. Yes. The show's going to be about 2 hours tonight. It could be longer. It's up to you guys. The way it works is the first 2 hours are free, gratis on me. Just to tell you guys the news. If you want it to go longer, if you want another hour, you pay for every $100 that comes in across all platforms. Super Chats, Rumble Rants, PayPal, Cash App, Coffee, Ko-Fi, Super Tips, Kick, Twitch, gifted memberships, becoming members, also becoming members or gifting members on YouTube or Rumble. Locals coins are becoming members on Locals, and I think that's it. I think I named them all. We add it all up when we hit 100. I add everything up when we hit 100. We add an extra hour to the show, and then for every 100, we add an extra hour, so the show could be 2 hours, 3, 4, 8, 12, 24, 36, 92. It could never end. It's the show that never ends. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. And then as an added bonus, what I like to do is when we hit 50, I'd like to add a little Bella-Vision for the evening when we hit 50. But, how that works is when we hit 50, we add Bella-Vision up for the evening. But as an added bonus, if someone was to donate an individual donation of $25 or greater, one person, then we would activate Bella-Vision automatically. And that could be like a Rumble Rant or a Cash App, a PayPal, you name it, Super Tip, Ko-Fi, whatever. Or 5 gifted memberships would be more than $25 on either YouTube or Rumble or Twitch or Kick. So that's how that goes. So, yes, that's how that goes. So let's get into some news. What do we say, huh? Let's get into some news. And this first story of the evening is brought to us via Ground News. It says, Governor Katie Hobbs of Arizona vetoes Charlie Kirk specialty license plate. So the people, the House and Senate of Arizona put forward to make a specialized license plate commemorating Charlie Kirk. And Katie Hobbs vetoed it. So this is the type of scumbags we are dealing with on the Demon Rat side. They won't even allow people to have no one's forced to get this license plate. If people want the license plate, they can get it. Will not allow people to get a license plate to remember the assassinated Charlie Kirk. On Friday, Governor Hobbs vetoed Senate Bill 1439, which had created a specialty license plate honoring Turning Point USA's founder, Charlie Kirk, and directed part of the fees to Turning Point USA. Well, I mean, the part of the fees to Turning Point USA might be an issue, but anyway. In her veto letter, Hobbs wrote, Charlie Kirk's assassination is tragic and a horrifying act of violence, and argued that the bill inserts politics into a function of government that should remain nonpartisan. How much you want to bet they had BLM license plates or, all types of other license plates that are political? I'm sure they did. The Republican legislature passed it earlier this week. The Kirk plate proposal would have charged a $25 fee with a $17 annual deposit into a special plate fund, $8 to the state highway fund, and required a $32,000 implementation fee. Meanwhile, a separate Loop 202 bill remains alive in the legislature, so other memorial measures are still pending. Observers note that Arizona already approved politically oriented plates, including Choose Life and In God We Trust, challenging claims of precedent. So she's a liar, liar, pants on fire. Let's read the story. Yes, Katie Hobbs vetoes Charlie Kirk Arizona license plate bill honoring the late founder. Yes, won the narrow way. Shame on them. The bill falls short of that standard by asserting politics into a function of government that should remain nonpartisan. I met ELP. They were about 5'5" and little dudes. So the governor, the Demon Rat governor, who stole the election, she wasn't elected. She stole the election from Carrie Lake, has vetoed a bill that would have allowed for residents in the state to have license plates that would say "For Charlie," along with a Turning Point USA logo and a flag in honor of the late Charlie Kirk. Hobbs wrote in a letter that the assassination is tragic. And we saw that. In America, we resolve our political differences at the ballot box, no matter who it targets. Political violence puts us all in harm's way and damages our sacred democratic institutions. Yes, we're a republic, lady. I will continue working towards solutions that brings people together, but this bill falls short of that standard by inserting politics. Every nonprofit in Arizona has major roots has a license plate. Katie Hobbs vetoed this over politics after Charlie was brutally murdered. Hey, Vanilla Gorilla. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. What's up? Lynn Panic, what's up? I have hit the like button. Well, thank you so much. It's disgusting. Yeah. Hey, NASCAR Mo. Awesome. Thanks for being here, buddy. Yeah, so Tyler Boyer, the spokesman for the TPUSA, said in a response that the Governor's Hobbs vetoed a specialty plate that was passed by the Arizona legislature. They're very worried about Arizona's wanting to support the cause of Charlie. Bowers also pointed out that every nonprofit in Arizona that has major roots has a license plate. Katie Hobbs vetoed this over politics after Charlie was brutally murdered. Republican State Senator Jake Hoffman responded to Hobbs' veto on the bill and wrote on X, Katie Hobbs' grotesque partisanship knows no bounds. Even in the wake of a global civil rights leader, an Arizona resident, and her own constituent being assassinated in broad daylight for his defense of the First Amendment, Hobbs couldn't find the human decency to put her far-left extremism aside, simply to allow those who wish to honor him to do so. Katie Hobbs will ever be known as a stain on the pages of Arizona's story. Like, what they really need to do is they really need to look into her ties to the cartels and the money laundering that she was doing, the houses that she was buying for cartels. She was all part of this whole thing, laundering money through real estate. She's a criminal. Yes. Hey, Cesium Cat, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Kirk was assassinated on September 10th at the Utah Valley University campus while speaking to a group of students. Tyler Robinson has been charged with his murder and reportedly confessed to his parents, friends, as well as his trans furry lover, Lance Twiggy Twigs. Robinson is on trial for the killing and is facing the death penalty if found guilty in Utah. Starting to worry that maybe Utah is a bad place because it seems like there's a lot of weird shit going on there. Weird shit going on in Utah. We got this story. It says the White House advisor urges Latin America to fight cartels as ISIS or Al Qaeda. Hey, Jason Fisher, what's up? Good evening, Jim. What has been your experience with gas prices? Will Venezuela oil patch over the Middle East oil? Gas prices are a little bit up where I'm at. They're over 360 right now, which is it's been higher. It was higher a few years ago, but I think we'll be okay. The prices, the oil prices you're seeing is all speculation. It's the market, people saying, bidding up things, buying futures, like it's the market. It's not a supply issue at this point. We're not in any type of supply issue at all. So we have plenty of oil. The U.S. produces enough oil for itself. The problem is we sell a bunch of it. We ship oil to China. We ship oil to Europe. We ship oil all over the world, to Asia. And then we take oil from foreign countries. It doesn't make any sense why this is this whole thing. Like, it doesn't. I mean, I guess maybe it makes sense if you think maybe they do it that way. That way, the petrodollar stays strong. Corey Richards is on trial in Utah for her husband's death. Her attorney, at least one, is also representing Tyler Robinson. Sent you a DM on X. It's about airplane issue. You talking about the bomb threat on the airplane or the something like that? I'll look for it in a second. Refinery is the problem. Yes, refining is the problem. So Trump advisors compare narco-terrorists to ISIS, vows similar countermeasures. I can't say I'm sad about this. I mean, they're narco-terrorists. Treat them like terrorists. The cartels that operate in this hemisphere are the ISIS and the Al Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, and they must face similar counterterrorism measures, stated Trump advisor Stephen Miller. As the Shield of the Americas summit is set to convene in Florida, Stephen Miller, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, laid out the Trump administration's priorities in combating narco-terrorism in the Western Hemisphere and how the new Monroe Doctrine will play out. Criminal cartels and dictators who protect them have fueled crime, death, and chaos in the Americas for long enough. Let's see. Oh, we're going to see him talk here. So yes. Let's see. This is a nice speech, but we're going to read it and then we'll see it. So yes, he says the cartels that operate in this hemisphere are ISIS and Al Qaeda. There's not a criminal justice solution to the cartel problem. These organizations can only be defeated with military power. Well, I can't say I disagree.
There's been a paradigm shift under President Trump in the Western Hemisphere in the last 14 months. Some of that was touched on by the earlier speakers, but just to restate it, we are not going to cede an inch of territory in this hemisphere to our enemies or our adversaries. Our national security, our homeland security, the safety and well-being of our people begins at home, begins in our neighborhood, begins in our home region. And for too long, we have allowed foreign enemies, foreign adversaries, and enemy terrorist organizations to control territory and spaces in this hemisphere where they can project power, project threats, and directly threaten the lives of your citizens and our citizens. And so under the leadership of President Trump, we are using hard power, military power, lethal force to protect and defend the American homeland. Not a single one of your nations should tolerate the existence of a single square mile of territory that is under the control of any entity other than the sovereign governments of your country. The idea that we would have in this hemisphere area that are under the physical control of foreign terrorist organizations, paramilitary organizations, is completely unacceptable. The cartels that operate in this hemisphere are the ISIS and the Al Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, and should be treated just as brutally and just as ruthlessly as we treat those organizations. What we have learned after decades of effort is that there is not a criminal justice solution to the cartel problem. There are elements of the problem that require a criminal justice solution, to be sure. But just as we fought Al Qaeda and fought ISIS with the tip of a very lethal spear. The reason why this is a conference with military leadership and not a conference of lawyers is because these organizations can only be defeated with military power.
That's right. Let's see. Jason says, I watched a bunch of media reports and they didn't explain what you said. Titles like Skyrocket. Yeah, see, look at Nanny Goat says Tucson is 369. Jonathan says, I'm in Connecticut. Gas is 319. It's going to be different depending on taxes, depending on what, if they're generally, whenever they start switching to the summer blend, prices go up anyway because they have to shut down refineries. They have to switch. So then it's supply and demand type of thing. Arizona Mercer says Bullhead City is 332. But like I said, it's not a supply issue at this point. We have enough oil. There's oil coming in from Venezuela. There's still oil coming out. The longer this goes on, this might actually have an opposite effect if all the speculation driving the cost up, if it doesn't actually lead to any shortage whatsoever, if there's no disruption in the supply at all, it's going to go in the opposite direction fast, and it's going to end up dumping down real low because there's going to be people are going to be like, oh shit, we bought all these futures and options, and it's not a problem, and so it's market manipulation. It's people speculating to make money. That's what it is, in my humble opinion. Cesium Cat says, I love Trump. Thank you. I love Trump too. With that, folks, that means we are now $90 away from our first additional hour of the show and $40 away from Bella Vision. Thank you so much, Cesium Cat. That is awesome. Prices should not rise in the summer. They shouldn't rise in the summer, but when they switch blends, there's a lot of places that use a summer blend and a winter blend on gas. I don't know. I don't know why, but they do. I don't understand it. Gas should be gas. I don't get it, but it is what it is. Arizona Mercer says the west side of Arizona is based on the refineries in California, the Death Valley refinery. Stop treating the systems, rid the causes. Yeah, I agree. We had gotten down to 239, so it's a bit of a shock. Yeah, I mean, if it goes from 239 to 349 or 359, if it does a 50% increase, let's say, that's a lot, but I mean, it's gonna go down. It's not gonna stay up forever. That's all I can say. It says the people voted for a major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. Elon Musk. Yeah, that's what I say. Miller declared while speaking at the official Department of War event that there's been a paradigm shift under President Trump in the Western Hemisphere in the last 14 months. Some of that was touched by what earlier speakers was touched on by earlier speakers. Yes. KBT says it's higher than last month, but not higher than 2022. That's correct. That is correct. But just to restate, we are not going to cede an inch of territory in this hemisphere to our enemies or our adversaries. That's good. That's good. No, nothing. You get nothing. You get no land. The Biden administration helped criminal cartels from Venezuela, Mexico, Ecuador, and other countries expand their businesses. But the Trump administration is aiming to do the exact opposite. Our national security, our homeland security, and our safety and well-being of our people begins at home, begins in our neighborhood, begins in our region. And for too long, we have allowed foreign enemies and foreign adversaries and enemy terrorist organizations to control territory and spaces in this hemisphere, where they can project power, project threats, and directly threaten the lives of your citizens and our citizens. Jason also says, how much longer will this Iran situation go on? This needs to get wrapped up fast. They said 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Let's give them 4 or 5 weeks. Let's see what happens. I mean, if they are keep hit like they keep saying that they're gonna we're gonna ramp up, we're gonna be hitting them more. I haven't seen anything anywhere. Like I haven't seen anything. I read that one guy they brought back is getting deported again. Yeah, he's supposed to be. There's been a judge trying to stop it. I'm hoping that an appeals court will step in and tell the judge to go away. Don't go away mad, just go away. So here, what's it say? Alert splash. U.S. number 21. U.S. 20 strikes and destroys 21 narco boats. 17 surface boats, 4 semi-submersible. How old is this? November 16th. Oh, this was old. Continuing to address the Latin and South American leaders as his primary audience, Miller went on and said, and so under the leadership of President Trump, we are using hard power, military power, lethal force to protect and defend the American homeland. Not a single one of your nations should tolerate the existence of a single square mile of territory that is under the control of any entity other than the sovereign government of your country. They hit the oil refineries in Iran today? Really? Countries whose leaders received invitations to the summit included Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras, Panama, Paraguay, and Trinidad, Tobago, according to the White House Press Secretary, Catherine Leavitt. The Shield of the Americas Summit is aimed at creating a coalition of governments to stamp out narco-terrorism in this hemisphere. Miller bluntly and fearlessly stated the idea that we should have in this hemisphere areas that are under the physical control of foreign terrorist organizations, paramilitary organizations, is completely unacceptable. The cartels that operate in this hemisphere are the ISIS and Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. They should be treated just as brutally and just as ruthlessly as we treat those organizations. Yes, I was going to get to that in a little bit. They lowered the sanctions on Russian oil. Yes. China is the one that may feel pressure without Iran oil. Yeah, mainly. It's going to be mainly China. Big black clouds. Ugh. I don't like big black clouds, from oil smoke. It's not good. It's not good. He concluded, we have learned after decades of effort is that there is not a criminal justice solution to the cartel problem. There are elements of the problem that require a criminal justice solution, to be sure. But just as we fought Al-Qaeda and fought ISIS with the tip of the very lethal spear, the reason why this is a conference with military leadership and not a conference of lawyers is because these organizations can only be defeated with military power. The cartels are at war with us, and America is finally taking the war to their doorstep. Hear, hear, hear. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at it's Big Mike. Yes. All right. All right. Now we got to the next story here. It says, appeals court rules against the Trump administration's efforts to end protected status for Haitians. On Friday, a 2-1 panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit refused to pause a February 2nd district court order preserving protections for more than 350,000 Haitians. The majority highlighted the lack of evidence of irreparable harm to the government. It's irreparable harm to the government when the government can't do their job. By 2 Biden judges, and noted that deported Haitians face violence and the collapsing rule of law. Circuit Judge Justin Walker dissented, comparing the case to the Venezuelan litigation. Because twice now, this has already went to the Supreme Court with Venezuela and another country, and the Supreme Court said, yes, they can do this. You can't stop them. But these judges go, oh, no. Oh, no. So let's see. We're going to read an article here. Federal Appeals Court upholds a temporary protected status. It's gone on for 16 years or 19 years. It says that, so this judge is the lower court judge, and these judges go, oh yeah, this judge is the ruler of the executive branch. They get to tell them who to give work permits to. They get to tell them who gets to stay in the country. They're not supposed to have any say over who's in the fucking country. This is ridiculous. A federal appeals court has upheld the lower court's ruling that the Department of Homeland Security had unlawfully terminated TPS. The 2-1 split decision issued March 6th denied the Trump administration's emergency request to suspend a lower court order that blocked the termination. The decision leaves in place protections for about 330,000 Haitian nationals while the underlying legal challenge proceeds. The majority argued that the Department of Homeland Security failed to prove that it would suffer irreparable harm. The plaintiffs, the Haitian recipients who sued to prevent revocation of the humanitarian immigration status, would face substantial and well-documented harms. No, they wouldn't. The Supreme Court already said it's not a harm to get sent home. As the district court detailed at length, the termination of TPS would have devastating consequences. So let's see this. And loss of work authorization. Oh, yeah, if they're not allowed to work and steal American jobs, it's going to be it's a harm to them. What about the harm to the Americans? In his dissent, Judge Justin Walker argued that TPS was never meant to be permanent and that the government should not be blocked from revoking the special protections first granted 16 years ago. Hey, Gundam Zig, thanks for being here. Thanks for catching up. The government is irreparably harmed by an improper intrusion by a federal court into the workings of a coordinate branch of the government. Walker wrote, adding that the Trump administration is likely to prevail in the underlying lawsuit as the government's foreign policy decisions are generally not subject to judicial review. The Epoch Times has contact DHS, which represents, and Justice Department, which represents DHS in the case, with a request for comment, including whether the administration plans to appeal to the Supreme Court. See, now this is why, if you remember, that hey, what's up, Jacob Castro? Thanks for being here. That, Sotomayor, the wise Latina that Obama put on the bench, has been complaining that why do we have to keep taking all these cases? This is why, because you have lower courts overstepping their bounds, issuing injunctions, preventing the executive branch from executing the law as it's written. Here's a weird one. They put in a human shell and call it a Cylon. I gone to the hills. Uh-oh. That sounds scary. That sounds scary. I just realized I never took the chat out over here. I have to do this. Take this over here so I can see it. Do this. Okay. I will pull that up, Gundam Zig, in a few minutes after I get through a couple stories. The lawsuit challenges the TPS. The case stems from a broader legal battle over the Trump administration's attempt to terminate TPS status. Yes, that's right. The government program, it's never temporary. Everything. There's every government program that they said was temporary is never temporary. That's the whole thing. The deep state, the demon rats, the communists want. TPS is a humanitarian program that allows nationals of certain countries to experience armed conflict, disasters, and other extraordinary conditions to live and work in the United States for a limited period. Haiti was first designated for TPS in 2010, following a devastating earthquake that killed more than 200,000 people. Designation has been repeatedly extended by successive administrations. And so if this administration says, no, we're not going to extend it, that's up to them. It's not up to a judge and a court to use their own opinions over the executive branch. And that's just a fact, Several Haitian nationals filed the lawsuit in July of 2025, arguing that Homeland Security decision to end TPS was inconsistent with the reality of conditions in Haiti. Oh, well, go to a different country. The plaintiffs argued that the revocation violated the Administrative Procedures Act. No, it doesn't, because the decision was arbitrary and capricious. And that it also violated the Fifth Amendment's due process protections. They don't have any Fifth Amendment due process to stay in the fucking country. They don't have a right to be in this country. There is no liberty interest for them to be in this country. This is ridiculous. This has to stop. We are being ruled. We are being ruled. We are being ruled by imperial judiciary. They think they rule over everything. Everyone has to listen to what they say. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a sec. This is still going on. I can't believe this. They ate all the cats in Haiti. Oh, there's no more cats. Yeah, didn't Clintons get boatloads of money to rebuild Haiti and didn't? Yeah, billions of dollars gone. They said Haiti remains deeply unstable and unsafe for mass returns, pointing to the growing influence of violent gangs and collapse of the government authority in many parts of the country. Haiti is a nation in chaos, the plaintiffs wrote. Violent gangs have taken over Haiti. Yes, we don't want them violent gangs here. fucking criminals and shit here. Nobody vetted these people. They're eating cats and dogs. What are we talking about? They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Remember? Oh, yeah. U.S. District Judge Anna C. Reyes, a Biden appointee, agreed with the plaintiffs in a February 2nd ruling, concluding the administration's termination decision violated federal law. What federal law does it violate? Where's the law that says, no, you have to do something? There's no federal law saying the government has to do any fucking thing for these people. They don't have to designate shit. Reyes wrote the DHS failed to properly consult with other government agencies before issuing the termination order. They don't have to. Nowhere in the rules for TPS does it say anything. It says the determinations are made by the Secretary of Homeland Security. Her alone. Him alone. Whoever that is. This is ridiculous. The ruling prevents TPS for Haitians from expiring on February 3rd, the date the administration had scheduled for the program's termination. This wasn't a cancellation. This was just, it was going to expire. She's forcing the government to redo the TPS. I would tell her to go pound sand. We're not doing it. Get an army and enforce it. The Trump administration appealed the decision within days and asked the D.C. Circuit to lift the court order while it proceeds. So this happened when? February 3rd. Or no, when did this lawsuit get filed? Oh, February 2nd, because it was going to expire February 3rd. Trump administration sought to revoke TPS from several other countries, including Venezuela, Ethiopia, Sudan, Burma, also known as Myanmar. Many of those decisions have been challenged in federal court. And the Supreme Court has said they can do it. So what are we doing? Why didn't you say anything about that in here? Why didn't you say anything about that? Nothing about it. That is so... who is writing these articles? You know, this is like really, really horrible. You know, now I got to go find it myself. Here we go. So are we supposed to respect the judiciary that ignores the rulings from SCOTUS over and over again? Eric Lowe says, can President Trump end TPS status for Haitian 16 years after it started? The D.C. Circuit says no. Judge Walker dissents. The Supreme Court has already stopped this answer twice. But the D.C. judges say, this is different. This is different. This is different. Jim Solom's really worked up tonight. I'm not really worked up. I get aggravated because these things keep happening, and we have a Supreme Court that makes a ruling, and then the other courts go, no, we don't have to follow that ruling. This is different. Yeah, Bukele the courts. Yeah. The Biden administration should ignore the Supreme Court. AOC Trump 26. I will comply with the Supreme Court. Tell me again who's actually has fascist tendencies. Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on here. It's like Trump, Biden ignored the Supreme Court numerous times. Remember, Biden came out and the Supreme Court tried to stop me, but I didn't let him. I did it anyway. It's like, what? Anyway, let me just, we're going to do a couple things here. I want to show this. This is Jesse Jackson's son asked attendees at his father's funeral not to bring politics into the service. So Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris decided to give political rally speeches.
Do not bring your politics out of respect to Reverend Jesse Jackson and the life that he lived to these homegoing services.
Right.
Come respectful and come to say thank you. But these homegoing services are welcome to all. Democrat, Republican, liberal, and conservative, right wing, left wing, because his life is broad enough to cover the full spectrum of what it means to be an American.
Yeah.
We only ask people to come and be respectful in the context of the extraordinary life that he lived.
Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions. Another setback to the idea of the rule of law.
That was the one of Reverend Jesse Jackson's sons. One who I don't think is in politics at all. I believe he's a businessman. He's not very, that's not Jesse Jackson Jr. All right. Oh, never mind. It's Obama. Well, no, they're showing, hold up. What's going on here? Fierce Allosaurus. I was just showing, that Jesse Jackson's son, his oldest son, I don't know if his oldest son, his son gave a speech before. Yeah, the son should have asked him to sit down. Yeah. Well, Obama and Jesse Jackson never got along. Jesse Jackson tried to stop Obama from winning. Jesse Jackson went against him when Obama ran for senator from Illinois. He went against him when he ran for president from Illinois. So I don't know. Anyway, am I a racist? Whoops. No, you're not racist. Obama's a piece of shit. Always has been. So I just wanted to play this so everyone could see, because believe it or not, Jesse Jackson was friends with Donald Trump. They go back a long time. Jesse Jackson gave Donald Trump awards in the 80s. They know each other. They knew each other. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised Trump didn't go to this funeral. Maybe he didn't go because he didn't want it to be a whole scene and stuff like that. I searched up FBI and found your live stream, gave a follow. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not in the FBI.
An offense to common decency. Every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible.
I was loving the first guy. This son sucks. No, this is Obama. This is Obama, KB. This ain't his son. This is just Obama. We're gonna see. There's gonna show the other people too. So we're gonna try to get through this.
To fear each other and to turn on each other. And that some Americans count more than others.
I don't care what they do in Washington. I care what we do in the community. We beat people bigger than Trump. We fought people harder than them if we stand up and be what we're supposed to be.
This is bad times like now. We're in a tough spot, folks. We got an administration that doesn't share any of the values that we have.
None of the values.
I don't think I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now. I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming.
If the son should have went up there after this and said, all these people that just spoke, repeal the 13th and 14th, that I typed that out loud. Anyway, well, that was that. I thought that was interesting when I saw it. So I wanted to share it with y'all. Let's see here. Oh, this is crazy. So breaking news. NYPD confirms a bomb was thrown at anti-Islam protesters by multiple Muslim men in New York City. 2 Muslims have been arrested for throwing defused devices filled with nuts and bolts. We don't need these people here. Islam is incompatible with America. Ready?
Protester, identified as Amir Balat, an 18-year-old man.
So I want you to realize, they just called them protesters that threw fucking bombs at people. They threw bombs at people, and they called them protesters. Those are protesters. But the people on January 6th that were just chanting not to steal the election and, save the country, those were insurrectionists. This is insane. This is insane. Yeah, I hate these losers. Damn, it's a Democrat rally. Yeah, it is. Perfect. She started her career on her knees. Oh, whatever. Oh, man. Deport Amir. These are rioters. They're more than rioters if they're throwing bombs. Those would be fucking terrorists. Those are called terrorists. Domestic terrorists, Islamic, whatever, foreign terrorists. I don't know. What's it say? Explosion at U.S. Embassy in Oslo. No injuries. What? Yeah, mostly peaceful IEDs. Yeah, mostly peaceful. Hold on. I'll look at that in a second. I will look at that in a second. So yeah, So I mean, this is insane. I'm going to back it up. Yes, they yelled Aloha Snack Bar right before. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So I'm going to back it up so you can hear it. They're calling them protesters. What's up, D. Homeless says, exactly, Jim. You're right on the bunny with the big T. Yeah. Oslo Embassy. All right, we'll pull it up. Bombers. Yeah, they're bombers. That's it.
Protester, identified as Amir Balat, an 18-year-old man, lit and threw an ignited device toward the protest area, landing in the crosswalk of East 87th Street and East End Avenue. Witnesses reported seeing flames and smoke as it traveled through the air before it struck a barrier and extinguished itself a few feet from police officers. Mr. Balat then ran southbound on East End Avenue toward 86th Street and gets a second device from a man tentatively ID'd as Ibrahim Nick, 19 years old. Mr. Balat lights the device and starts running with it. He then drops the device on the west side of East End Avenue between East 86th and East 87th Streets. Officers immediately secured the area and they took both men into custody. This was all captured on NYPD Argus camera.
Yes, this was New York City. There was a protest, whatever, and they went to bomb the protest. He said, K. Bean says, do not pass go, do not collect $200, deport immediately. Yes. New York City. Point blank protest at his forehead. Yes. A little bit more on this. Here's Enrique Tario says, I don't give an F what you think about Jake. He showed you exactly who these people are. These foreigners are incompatible with the West. Let them blow up their own people in their own countries. This is what Sneeko and Mandami encourage and support. These are barbaric acts, must be met with mass deportations. We'll get to that one second. There we go. Nick Shirley, if you're willing to bomb Americans in America for believing in Christianity, you have no place here. We have freedom of religion. Don't try to end Christians' lives because we don't believe in your religion. Look at this. You see the one female officer going, oh my God. And these guys are like, oh, that's a bomb. That's a bomb. Get to that one second. We have this. Southwest Flight 2094 was diverted to Atlanta and passengers were detained, reportedly over a bomb threat.
Let's go. Stand up. Everybody heads down. Stand up. Stand up.
Oh. Those are rather Middle Eastern looking, man. Yeah. Taking enough third world citizens, you become the third world. The new mayor will let them go. Oh, yeah, probably. Domestic terrorism, yes. Deport, yeah. I feel real bad for all these passengers. They'll never feel safe flying again. Yeah, the anti-Muslim people carrying signs are terrorists. The bomb-throwing Muslims are protesters. Yeah, it's like... That was on Southwest Airlines. It was something. I don't know what it was. Maybe. Hands up, pants down. Yeah. It's like heads down, hands up, so that they, whatever. I don't know why, what that was all about. I don't know. Seems a little bit silly. That's what they say. Alrighty then. That's where we're at. That's what's going on, man. That's what's happening. I mean, they're pushing all this stuff about like, oh, like these these fucking Congress people should, and these guys claim to be lawyers, they should actually look at the law. This is that communist Castro that says, I've looked at the records you filed. The warrant below is what you served Rodriguez. It's not a judicial warrant, and it's not even filled out properly, and make this an egregious violation of her Fourth Amendment rights. No, it's not. It's an administrative warrant for people who are in the country illegally. The fucking Congress took district courts out of it. They gave it to the immigration courts, and they said you can use administrative warrants, which is from the administrative court. That's how it works. You illegally detained a journalist. No, they didn't. You killed 3 Americans, lied about it. No, they didn't. Detaining American citizens and lied about it. You know, these people are like so bad. Here's the warrant. It's right here. And it says once it's served, it's supposed to be filled out and signed. Yeah. And he's like, oh, no, here, say more. Here's this thing. And they show it here. I mean, these people are just so fucking ridiculous, man. It's Ricard. You know, it's just crazy. You know, and they're like, you were a lawyer. It's shocking you don't know how a warrant works. The bottom section of an arrest warrant isn't filled out until after an arrest is made. The top section is for the approval. The executed warrant is produced with both sections filled in after the arrest. It's like crazy, man. It's like crazy. Oh, this is nuts. Ready? So got this from Libs of TikTok. It says, career criminal with a long criminal history was just arrested in Louisiana for allegedly raping a 94-year-old woman just weeks after being released from prison for other charges. He was released from jail in January by the Democratic DA, Hilar Moore. What do you know? Let him out of jail in January, and in February or March, he rapes a 94-year-old woman. Yeah, more info. The I-Team. Let's see what the I-Team has to say.
So we're going to start with a tough one, very tough one. It's
Tough
unspeakable, really. A 94-year-old woman raped right here in Baton Rouge. Tonight, Baton Rouge police say they worked through the night to identify their suspect and arrest him. Our chief investigator, Chris Nakamoto, is here now with what neighbors have to say about this, who, as you can imagine, are stunned, and what may make you even more mad is the suspect's troubling criminal history. Chris.
Good evening, Greg. Jeremiah Taylor is no stranger to law enforcement. In fact, he was just released from jail in January for a slew of other charges. Tonight, neighbors on East Black Oak Drive near Park Forest and Sherwood Forest are stunned. Jeremiah, did you rape a 94-year-old woman?
No.
What was that?
No.
You didn't do that?
No.
So what is this?
I don't know, man. I don't rape no body, man.
Wearing handcuffs and only speaking with profanities, 22-year-old Jeremiah Taylor is accused of the unthinkable. Investigators say he raped a 94-year-old woman who lived on this street in Baton Rouge in broad daylight. Neighbors are stunned and say the woman always was outside, tending to her yard, and the neighbors all looked after her.
This is horrible. You know, Satan is busy, you know, and it is just bad. Stuff like this don't usually happen around here. You know, everybody looks out, that was a sweet woman.
It's sad. Shit, nothing like that be happening in the neighborhood, really. That's sad. That's sick.
The WAFBI team first report Taylor's troubled past with arrests for rape, burglary, unauthorized entry, all within the past 2 years. The WAFBI team found his most recent.
Okay, how is somebody arrested for rape in 2024 out of jail in 2026? How is that possible? Yes, evil. Yes, 94-year-old woman, Miss Hacker. Yes. Yeah, open the door wide, let the monsters in. Yeah, that's what they do. Like I thought rapists get like 10 years at least, like 10, 20 years. If they're not, then there's a fucking problem. You know, how is the woman in Arizona, in Colorado, Tina Peters, 9 years in prison for trying to make sure she kept copies of what happened with the election stuff. Yet, here's a person that was arrested for all these crimes, and they're out. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Recent arrest was dismissed by District Attorney Hilar Moore's office, allowing Taylor back out on the streets. The frustration palpable for detectives who repeatedly see the same offenders over and over.
It is a source of contention. It is a source of frustration on our department and with our officers. Why this is happening is some questions that I would love y'all to ask the rest of the judicial system.
Following yesterday's rape, detectives worked quickly, putting photos out on Crime Stoppers Friday morning, and the community responded with an incredible amount of tips.
Within just minutes of us releasing those photos, the public reached out to us and was able to give us information about the location of the suspect. Our detectives then went and were able to arrest the suspect within just a few minutes in the same vicinity.
For neighbors who look after neighbors, if he's found guilty, many of them say they want to see Taylor pay the ultimate price. They want to see the state seek castration in this case and more.
Castration?
I don't think he deserves to live.
I don't think he deserves to live, honestly.
Cat, that ain't enough. That ain't enough. You still can walk around. That lady ain't even gonna ever be right again after this.
You're lucky you didn't catch him. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow.
Chief Moore says the evidence is overwhelming as this investigation continues.
When you're looking at one of the most vulnerable parts of our population, the elderly, to take advantage of them in this way, horrendous, unacceptable. I don't know what word you really use. I'm really dumbfounded to try to explain.
Sources tell the I-Team the victim in this case received some pretty serious injuries, including broken bones during the attack. Taylor is locked up in the East Baton Rouge Parish Jail with no bond this evening. For the WAFB I-Team, I'm Chris Nakamoto. Greg.
I mean, I think we can all agree that a person like that, does not deserve to breathe free air again in their life, right? Fitzy says Israel. I don't know. Israel? I don't know. And not many light course dumb judges, incompetent judges. Louisiana still has capital punishment. Thanks for being here, Fitzy. Match the DNA. Do it. Okay. What happened to 3 strikes laws? Well, what they do is they just drop the charges. They go, oh, just drop the charges. Just drop the charges. Let it go away. That's what happens. If you look, it's like arrested, charges drop, arrested, charges drop, arrested, charges drop. Oh, that's only for the vites. Yes. Prison justice is waiting for him. One would hope. Our country does not take rape as seriously as it should. It's worse than red rum. I think we should treat it the same. I really do, especially stuff like this. Not the I went, not the rape that's like I went home with this guy and I was drunk and I don't know if I get, that's, to me, that's completely different than this is like, these people should never get out of jail that beat people, that hurt them, like violence and this stuff. This is horrible. But they make like the So, Baton Rouge police arrested 22-year-old man Friday in connection with the rape of a 94-year-old woman in East Black Oak Drive near the Park Forest, Sherwood Forest neighborhoods. Jeremiah Taylor was taken into custody after detectives released photos of crime from Crime Stoppers. Is this the same video or a different video? A 90-year-old is crazy, Brooklyn. Yeah. I don't know if this is the same video. Let's see.
Shore Funding Solutions. Fast Fund, no collateral. Finance.
What is this? This is no sound. Baton Rouge Police Chief said the response was immediate. Within just minutes of releasing the photos, they got him. Well, you know what? I mean, that photo's kind of blurry. I hope they have better photos than that. Although that's him. Yeah, that's him. Look at the head. Look at this. Look at this picture. See the face shape, the thing coming in by the eyes, the nose and stuff. Like that, to me, that makes me think that, what's that called? Phrenology, right? Phrenology, where they measure like the shape of the skulls and stuff like that. That, like why, that the way it goes in like that, his profile, like his head's out this way and goes in. Yeah. He's a youth. Yeah, they'll get DNA. Yeah. Stranger or bruised, the offender has no moral values and will continue to hurt people forever. Yeah. When the charges are dropped, DOJ is raping people. Yes, that's my opinion. Yes, I agree. Had a case in Illinois where a guy raped his nursing home neighbor. They moved him out and covered it up. They found that Taylor had the WAFB I team found that Taylor had prior arrests for rape, burglary, unauthorized entry, all within the past 2 years. His most recent arrest was dismissed by District Attorney Hilar Moore's office, allowing Taylor to be released. He had just been released from jail in January. The pattern drew a direct response from Morse. It's a source of contention. It's a source of frustration on our department with our officers. Morse said, why this has happened is some questions I'd love you to ask the rest of the judicial system. Neighbor said the victim was known to be on the street. It's just horrible. Satan is busy. A neighbor also reacted. It's sad. Shouldn't nothing like that be happening in this neighborhood? It's really sad. That's sick. When you're looking at one of the most vulnerable parts of the population, I don't know what the word he really uses. I'm really dumbfounded to try to explain it. Ask why. Ask why what?
Krista, take two.
Oh, God.
I'm here on set of an inside.
So we're going to start with a tough one, very tough one. It's unspeakable, really. A 94-year-old woman.
Oh, we just saw this. Why do they keep playing the same video again? Why do you keep playing the same video again? We got this story. Check this out. There's another story. There's Miami-Dade family is outraged after an illegal alien that kidnapped their 6-year-old boy receives only a 3-year sentence through a backdoor deal made by the radical demon rat-controlled state's attorney's office. Demon rats are dangerous as pedophiles. Yes, they are. Yes, released. Hey, what's up, Eastwood Backyard Farms? The prosecutors and judges are the failures. AG is white. White guilt.
Surveillance video captured Jose Martinez approaching 6-year-old Jake Rivera. Police say Martinez started playing soccer with the child and even offered to buy him a toy, all to befriend him before taking him away.
Just came over for me and said, do you want to come with me? And I said, sure.
It's been nearly 2 years since the traumatic incident that forever changed Rivera's life. Luckily, he was found safe more than a mile away. Martinez has been in jail since the incident.
The fact that he only gets 3 years for abducting a child and leaving us worried doesn't sit right with me.
Today, NBC6 captured the moment Martinez accepted a plea deal offered to him by the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office. 3 years in prison, followed by 10 years of probation.
Would like to plead guilty to 1 count of kidnapping and 1 count of interference with custody of a child.
Alfredo Velasquez.
Okay, why isn't this guy already in Alligator Alcatraz? Can someone explain that to me? This guy should already be in Alligator Alcatraz, already on his way out of the country. Like, goodbye. Yeah. 48 Hours had a crazy episode tonight. Mindy Katsousis and Jim McIntyre's case, if anyone can do that, is wild. I'm not familiar with it. 3 years, our judicial system does not value children. He didn't abduct the kid. The kid went willingly. You can't, that's still abduction, Carano. You don't take other people's kids' places. That kid cannot make decisions. A child that small cannot make decisions. Yes. How can anybody do what he did? Yeah. Don't know.
Who helps take care of his little cousin, says he learned about the deal through NBC6. He says prosecutors never gave them a heads up and that they would have pushed for more prison time.
He should just be in state prison for all his life because these are children.
Velasquez says his family has no choice but to move on, but tells us his little cousin will never be emotionally the same.
I'm done. I don't feel safe anymore that he's gonna just get 3 years and maybe come out in the same street here and do the same thing.
I don't think he's going to come out on the same street if the Trump administration isn't already got the papers ready to get him out of the country. Then I don't know. Yeah, this was published back. New horrifying video shows abduction. Yeah. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? No one's surprised. Look at this. Oh, the mayoral election has its initial round. Oh, look at Aline Higgins. She was elected a mayor, becoming the first Democrat to be elected to a position since 1997. Incumbent Mayor Francis Suarez was term limited, could not run again. Miami holds runoffs if no mayoral candidate receives majority vote. County board member Higgins and former city manager Gonzalez advanced to runoffs. Higgins would go on to defeat Gonzalez in a runoff, making her the first Democrat to be elected since 97. The first woman elected to lead Miami in city's history. Oh, yes. White women, the bane of our entire world. Sorry, white women. White liberal women, I should say. White leftists, women. We got this story. It says, SAVE Act. If Thune won't do his job, just 5 senators are needed to call a vote, and only 27 Republicans need to vote to replace him. Yeah. If Thune will not move the SAVE Act, the conference must. Says the Senate's often described as the world's most deliberative body. I know you're a white woman, KPT. That's why I said white leftist women. Awfuls. Affluent, white, liberal. What is it? Awful. Affluent, white, female, urban liberals. Perhaps kids should be able to play safely outside. Yeah. When I was a kid, we played outside all the time. Yes. Truth hurts, liberal women, liberal white women, we not that. Check. I missed the leftist part. Yes. He's on a rant. Yes, he does. And I forgot, there was a payment on, where is it at? I did get a PayPal from Jonathan Marcos for $10. Thank you so much, Jonathan Marcos. So with that, that means we are now 80 away from adding an extra hour to the show and 30 away from Bellavision. Thank you all so much. I say send them all to El Salvador and pay them $10 a day for a prisoner versus our prison system that pays on average $3.50 a day. Yes. Pam Graham says, I'm a white Republican and also a pureblood. No jabby for me. Me too. No jibby jab. Yes. The phrase conjures images of long speeches, careful arguments, and legislators wrestling openly for difficult questions. But today the Senate faces a simpler problem. A bill with majority support sits idle. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, commonly called the SAVE Act, has already passed the House and sits on the Senate's desk awaiting a vote. 53 Republican senators hold the majority, yet the bill remains frozen because the majority leader has chosen not to bring it to the floor. It's crazy. It's crazy that they're not doing anything. What is going on? The problem is that we have 5 members on the GOP who really want to save, don't want, and we've got required 5 members. The bill would have already been passed. 5 senators just call for a vote for a new leader. Yeah. So that's what we need. We need 5 members. Also, here we go. So this is a case we saw, like I showed you before. There was a video, which will probably be a video here. So a North Carolina woman accused of mowing down a cop was freed on low bail, sparking police fury. Enough is enough. Oh, look at that. Wow, what is that? A North Carolina woman accused of mowing down cop freed on low bail, sparking police fury. Oh, this is some good video of. A North Carolina woman accused of plowing her car into a cop in a brazen caught-on-camera attack was freed on bond just hours after her arrest. A very frustrating move that has police fuming. Tanzia Michelle Austin, 25, posted a $3,000 bond, was back on the streets hours after she was jailed for slamming her black Kia Optima into a Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer as cops tried to break up a street takeover in Charlotte. on March 1st, according to arrest affidavit. Police say the officer was standing in front of the car, ordering Austin to stop when she allegedly hit the gas and sped off amid mayhem unfolding in the Harris Teeter parking lot around 3:25 a.m. When I hear about someone being released on a $3,000 bond for running over a police officer on video, it boggles the mind. A retired police lieutenant and founder of the Wounded Blue outlet reported. Who's the judge? Probably another demon rat. In reality, that means she may only have to put up 300. She ran over a cop and she walked out. This wasn't an accident. She saw him. He was communicating with her, and then she just gunned the car towards him. Well, we know because she probably is going to be a champion on the right. I mean, on the left. The left is going to champion her, just like Renee Good. Renee Good did the same thing, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's a hero." No, she's the victim. So this woman's the victim. If it was a bondable with bail bond, she paid $300. Yeah. Is it always a Kia? Fitzy says Soros owns the judges and the DAs. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Harrowing footage shared on social media showed the car barrel into the uniformed officer, sending him rolling over the hood and stumbling and miraculously landing on his feet. Shit, boss, don't need no commentary. Wait, why you gotta play music? Why you gotta fucking play music? I don't understand why that's not attempted murder. Yeah. Oh, she did a Renee Good. That's why. Yeah. That's where we're at now, folks. I hate to take it to you. I mean, that's why we have, DA in Austin trying to charge the 3 cops who stopped the mass shooter, the Islamic terrorist mass shooter that shot up the bar, wearing the Iranian shirt and all that stuff. Demonic rat. Yeah. Sounds like attempted murder to me. Yeah, it is attempted murder. It's at a minimum aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. The car is a weapon. The cop was taken to the hospital and treated for minor injuries. Austin was arrested the following day and thrown behind bars for felony assault with a deadly weapon on a government official. She was released later that day. She's wearing her nose ring for her leash. Yeah, choreographed moves. Hey, what's up, Mama Pillow? Great to see you. Thank you so much. I'm ashamed to live in Austin with them charging the 3 cops. Yeah. Well, they're trying to. They're taking it to the grand jury, trying to charge them. Yes. Remember, cops are pigs, not people to these devolved animals. Yeah. Yeah. To see a $3,000 bond for an offender, regardless of whether she has a criminal history or not, when the attempt to flee was clearly there, it's pathetic. It's very frustrating. There are laws on the books that are supposed to protect law enforcement officers from these heinous attacks. When officers see this treated like just another incident, it makes them question whether they're truly supported, especially by members of the criminal justice system. Oh, I want a jury summons. I'm sure they ain't going to send one to you, KPT. Redford warned morale sinks when the justice system doesn't have officers' backs. U.S. Representative Mark Harris also blasted the incident, calling Austin's bond a complete slap in the face to law enforcement for letting someone accused of mowing down an officer walk so free so quickly. Running over a police officer is the highest level of evil. I talked about this a little bit last night. If you want to pull it up, Virginia Democrats are moving to require schools teach. Yeah. It's going to go to court. They're going to get sued over it because they're trying to make it so that you can't say there was peaceful protests on January 6th. You can't say they had a reason to protest. You have to just say they were all insurrectionists, murderers who tried to overthrow the country. It's too easy to get a driver's license. Hey, Margie, great to see you. It's also a complete slap in the face to our brave officers and law enforcement officers to see this kind of criminal allowed to back on the streets when Charlotte's going to end the crime cycle. When are magistrates going to keep bad guys behind bars? Enough is enough. It's crazy, right? Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Oh, I got this story. From Ken Paxton says, this is who the real John Cornyn is. He's siding with the demon rat Vicente Gonzalez and praising him instead of supporting President Trump's endorsed candidate Eric D. Flores. Demon rats have no greater ally than John Cornyn. Great to be back in Corpus Christi with Mayor Godardo and County Judge Scott, joined by Rep. Gonzalez and Rep. McLeod's staff visit to CCD. Oh, this is Charlie Kirk talking about John Cornyn. He's spot on.
It is simply and purely shocking. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about his voters. Any decent person that gets booed by their voters, any decent person that all of a sudden gets rebuked by the very people that gave them political power would stop and say, maybe I'm heading in the wrong direction. And they'd back off. Instead, John Cornyn gets in front of the entire Texas Republican convention and gets booed. And then he goes back to D.C. and says, I'm going to show those people. I'm going to show the deplorables. I'm in charge. Not you. I'm the senator, not you. I'm in charge. I have never, in my 10 years of doing this, seen such an intentional, brazen, and defiant mode of action as what I have just seen from John Cornyn. I'm not saying it's the worst bill I've ever seen. That's not true. I'm not saying that it's the worst vote I've ever seen. That's not the point. The point I'm making is I have never seen in my 10 years of doing this someone so openly rebuked by their voters and then so quickly turning 180 degrees around and saying, I don't care. I've never seen it. Usually, when you show up to a town hall and you confront them, they say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to change my vote. Cornyn doesn't like you. And he jokes about it, actually. Cornyn hates you. He knows he'll still get money from his corporate donors. He knows that. Instead of being allied with his voters and be like, maybe there's something I could learn here, he pokes him in the eye and says, no. I'm the senator. You're the serf. You're not a citizen. I'm in charge.
Yeah, Gundam, we covered that. That was like the first story I think I did, close to the first story I did about the Katie Hobbs vetoing the license plate. Yeah, fundamental principle of power is all political power is inherent in the people. Yes, it is. Oh, what's this? Pam Graham says the semi was going the wrong way in Sikeston, Missouri, and was arrested, had a CDL out of Minnesota, and couldn't speak or read English. Yeah. What is going on? Since ancient times, the symbol of slavery was nose rings. Yep. She should have been ordered not to drive even out on bond. Yeah, they should have revoked her driver's license immediately. KBT says I was sent a jury summons for 12 years in a row when I was the main caregiver to children under 10, so I couldn't serve. My last child is almost 22, and I have not been summoned in 13 years. Yeah. There should be a license for drinking alcohol. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely a special license for people that want to drink and drive. Yes. Rest in peace, Charlie. Hey, Doc, great to see you. Great to see you. Karen L says, popular sovereignty, people power, government source of authority and the people, and its power is not legitimate if the will of the people is disregarded. Franklin and Lincoln. Yeah. Yep. Employers should be held responsible for truck drivers who can't read. Definitely. Definitely. Let's see here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this. So this is AG, Distant AG, Carmeet Dillon says, that's not me, Kyle, but great investigative work there. So glad you are an FBI special agent. The bigotry is a little concerning, though. Be better. Kyle Seraphin. Yeah. As the DOJ fights to defend gun laws for Americans, this woman LARPs as only a Californian from Indian can. Yeah, shall not be infringed. Great times at the range, practicing form and accuracy. I don't know. You're saying that's not her? I don't know. Why are you attacking some women who are trying to learn how to shoot and being taught by people that can teach them the correct way to do it? I don't get it. D Bud says, is it just me or is there nothing new? It seems it's like same shit, different day. You know what I mean? They should repo a truck. I agree. Yeah, Cat and we out nose rings on bulls to control them. Yeah. Listen, strange women lying in ponds or distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. My biggest kvetch is employers not getting hammered for employing these people. MTG should feel pain for hers. Oh, I agree. I don't see how they get by the insurance company around here. You can't get good driving job if you have any points because of insurance. Well, how do you have points if you have a made up name? It's not really your name. And they just, you come in and say, my name is Abdul Rahim, or they don't put a name. No name given, remember? No name given. Remember that? No name given. How do they check anything if there's no name? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, there was something I wanted to look at. Here we go. Wow. Oof. Let me do this real quick. All right. So explosions at the U.S. Embassy in Oslo with no injuries. The U.S. Embassy in Oslo was hit by an explosion in the early hours of Sunday, but no one was injured. Police in the Norwegian capital said, adding cause. The cause was not immediately known. Well, wouldn't the cause of an explosion be some kind of explosive device? Wouldn't that mean there was like a bomb or something that caused an explosion? Unless it was like a gas leak or something. Is that what you're saying? It was a gas leak? Seems weird. The explosion occurred at 1 a.m. local time, the Oslo Police Department said in a statement. Public broadcaster NRK quoted a police incident commander, Michael Delmayer, saying the blast hit the entrance of the embassy's consular section. Huh. I can't rewind. Is it over? What? The show? No, the show's not over. What are you talking about? You should be able to rewind. Show's not over. You should be able to rewind. I don't have it set up to not be able to rewind on X, the bud. Top tier detective work there, Oslo. Yeah. You should be able to rewind. I have it set up. I don't have it set for no DVR thing for like, they say you get higher quality if you have that set for people not to rewind, but I don't know. At around 1 a.m. received, so it's 1 a.m. Wait a minute. This was 1 a.m. That's okay, no, 1 a.m. Sorry. Yeah, a gas leak would not require a was hit headline. Yeah. I mean, if I went around saying I was an emperor just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away. Yeah. That's a lie. Corrections can be made. Hi, Jim. Where's Bella? Bella's here, but we haven't hit the goal for Bellavision. Beautiful cat. I mean, she's right there. See? She's just chilling. But we didn't hit the goal. Oh, I'm here. I got it. Thanks. Okay. Probably lost in translation. I meant motive. Okay. There's minor damage. We arrived shortly after and confirmed that there's been an explosion that hit the U.S. Embassy. We're not going to comment on anything related to the type of damage, what it was that exploded, and similar details, beyond the fact that there was an explosion and it's very early in the investigation. She is safe. Yes, she is. How's her allergies? They're still bad. I gave her some Benadryl today. That's why she's kind of sleepy. I don't know. I'm going to try changing her dog food. No head? Oh, she's got her head right there. See? There's a head right here. And there's the doggy thing. She's all there. He later told TV2 the police have an idea of the cause. It appears that this was an act carried out by someone. So an act carried out by someone would be a bombing, right? Maybe he was just a protester. Oh, how did I do? Well, hold on a second. Banners. Wait. That's $80 away. I didn't have. Somebody did that. Screwed that up. And it looks like I just got a PayPal. Yeah, KPT says trying for Bella Rally. $7 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, KPT. Use some of her Bella bucks for some rough greens. Okay. I will do that. So that means we are now $73 away from an extra hour and $23 away from Bellavision. Well, thank you all so much for being so generous to me and Bella. We really appreciate it. Trying to start a Bella Run. Thank you so much. Just like 9/11, somebody did some things. Does Bella wear green for St. Patty's Day? No. Maybe somebody accidentally dropped something. Try the rough greens. KPT says, my dog had allergies and stinky farts. Changed to Heritage Ranch salmon and chickpea food. No more itching. No more stinky tooths. Okay. I will check that out. Chickpea, Heritage Ranch salmon and chickpea food. I will check that out. Thank you so much. Jim, here is something you might want to think about. Okay. Hey, look at this. $10 from Dan. Bella money. Thank you so much. That means we are now $63 away from adding additional hour to the show and $13 away from Bellavision. 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 Bellavision for some Bella bucks. Bucks. Thank you. The police statement said investigators were in contact with the embassy about the incident and there was a huge police deployment on site. Jim tells you, and my dog is 130 pounds, so he could clear a room. Oh, God. I love chickpeas. Yes. 3 bangs. Oh, there was 3 bangs. So it was 3 bombs, 3 bangs. U.S. Embassy has been placed on high alert in the Middle East over American military operations in Iran, and several have faced attacks as Tehran has hit back at industrial and diplomatic targets. But Delamere said there was no indication as of yet that the incident in the embassy in Oslo was connected to the conflict. Yeah. Something tells me the Amish were not responsible for this bombing. Yes, definitely. In my experience, U.S. embassies have a lot of security. That's a weird story. Far out. Love big dogs. We're not connecting to the conflict. It's far too early for that, he told TV2. Residents near the embassy described hearing the explosion. I want to see Bella in an Irish costume. You want to see Bella be Irish? Ready? She's just going to say an Irish goodbye right now. Ready? A 16-year-old identified only as Edvard, told TV2 that he was watching television when he heard the blast. My mother and I first thought it came from our house, so we looked around a little, but then we saw flashing lights outside the window and a ton of police. There were police dogs and drones and police with automatic weapons and helicopters in the air. A group of 3 friends, meanwhile, told TV2 they were waiting for a taxi near the embassy when the explosion happened. Bella with a 4-leaf clover. We felt 3 bangs that made the ground shake. That's made the ground shake. That's a pretty big. 10 days away from St. Patty's Day. Once in their taxi, they drove past the scene and saw the street in front of the embassy covered in smoke. We arrived before the police. The blanket of smoke was very strange. It was like thick fog. A large area around the embassy was blocked off, and police were stopping cars near the area, media outlets reported. That's like crazy, right? That's a crazy story. That's a crazy story. All right, on to this next story. It says Portland residents near the ICE building win a court order limiting agents' tear gas use. Yeah, so the people that live around the building haven't got an order to stop 3 bangs, 3 frames, a getaway car. Could be. A federal judge ordered federal officers at the ICE building in Portland to restrict their use of tear gas after a lawsuit by nearby residents. Tenants, not residents. The judge acknowledged the order as an extraordinary remedy, but deemed the case extraordinary due to the toxic chemicals poisoning a residential community. Toxic chemicals? Tear gas isn't toxic. The lawsuit argues the use of chemical munitions violated residents' right to life, liberty, and to property by sickening them and contaminating their apartments. What about stopping? Maybe the judge can issue an order ordering the people to stop rioting. Oslo's Muslim population is 10%. Yeah, it's gotten bad there. Portland residents near the ICE building win court order limiting agents' tear gas use. A federal judge in Oregon on Friday limited federal officers' use of tear gas during protests at the Portland Federal Immigration Building. They don't use the tear gas on protests. They use the tear gas on rioters. When they start getting violent and breaking the law, that's why they use the tear gas. As part of a lawsuit filed by an adjacent affordable housing complex, U.S. District Judge Amy Baggio, whatever her name is, issued a preliminary injunction. Man, they sure keep issuing these injunctions, don't they? They're not supposed to be doing this. In which the complex's residents described physical and psychological symptoms ranging from difficulty breathing, coughing, burning eyes and hives, anxiety, and panic attacks. Some also testified about wearing gas masks in their own home. The case comes amid grower concerns over the federal officers' use of aggressive crowd control tactics. Well, we've seen what happens when you don't use aggressive crowd control tactics. You get what happened in Minneapolis and Ferguson with burning buildings. What happened in Kenosha? Burning buildings. That's what happens. You have to be aggressive to stop people who are being aggressive. Yes, leave it to Portland to get it half-assed backwards. In her opinion, Baggio said the case was not about the rights of protesters, but rather about the allegations from residents of Gray's Landing that the federal officers' use of munitions during protests has been so excessive, so enveloping, that it violates the plaintiff's rights. Yes, it's probably the lack of hygiene of the protesters, probably. The court recognizes a preliminary injunction as an extraordinary remedy, but this is an extraordinary case. Her order restricts agents from using chemical munitions in quantities likely to reach Gray's Landing, which is catty corner from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. Didn't these people sue the city of Portland over them allowing these protests to keep going on? Because isn't that disturbing them, keeping them up? I bet you that case was thrown out. A federal judge in a separate lawsuit filed by the ACLU on behalf of the protesters previously issued a TRO limiting the use during protests, but is also considering a grant of an injunction. Yeah. The property management department building and several tenants filed the suit, claiming that the federal government in December argued the use of chemical munitions that violated residents' rights. Yeah. Portlandia, you're on stolen land. Decision protects basic health and safety and the right to live in one's home without fear of chemical weapons being used by the government. Residents should not be harmed simply because they live next to the site of a public protest. So what they're saying is the public protest is no longer a peaceful assembly, because them doing it is causing this. Is all a chain reaction. Yeah, the defendants say they've deployed crowd control devices in response to violent protests, which have been the site of demonstrations for months. The plaintiffs filed an updated request for preliminary injunction in late January after agents launched gas at a crowd of demonstrators, including young children, that local officials described as peaceful. The affordable housing complex residents, 237 of them, nearly a third are age 63 or older. 20% of the units are reserved for low-income veterans. Yes, it's not a protest, it's a riot. The government said in court filings that federal officers at a time use crowd control devices in response to crowds that are violent, obstructive, or trespassing, or do not comply with dispersal orders. It's also pushed back against the claims that tenants' constitutional rights being violated, saying under such an argument, federal and state law enforcement would violate the Constitution whenever they deploy airborne crowd control devices that inadvertently drift into someone's home or business, even if use of such devices is otherwise entirely lawful. Stop changing the meaning of words. Maybe they could make it a no protest zone. Yeah. The preliminary injunction would remain in effect as long as the lawsuit proceeds. Well, this needs to be appealed. This is ridiculous. Oh, Let the F is here. It says, hey, y'all, for some reason my phone isn't allowing me to hit the like button. Well, please try again. Thank you for coming. Please try again. Yes. Thank you for coming. Please try again. Let me see where we're at on the likes. Let me look. It says we are 75 likes with 120 people watching. So we could do a little better. We could do a little better. That's almost 35 or so people that haven't hit the like. We could do a little better. Marxists change the meaning of language. Beware. Billie Eilish is living on Mark Wayne Mullen's stolen land. Yeah. I'll refresh and try again. Thank you. Thank you. This story is not really real big news, but I was just going to cover it because I think it's interesting that California Representative Kevin Kiley launches an independent re-election bid after redistricting. Kevin Kiley filed as a no-party preference candidate on Friday. After Newsom's redistricting plan dismantled Kiley's own old district into 6 new seats. So what they did is they took this guy's district and they split it and put parts of it into 6 other districts. That's what they're doing. They're taking every Republican district and go here, go here, go here, go here. Shameful, but it is what it is. Rep. Kiley running as an independent after the gerrymandering. This isn't about this, about the Oh, let's see. This looks interesting. It says, Congress covers abuse with the slush fund. Let's see what this is.
But typical Washington. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett is with us. He was one of the 38 Republicans who voted for this resolution. Congressman, take us through what is going on.
Well, Washington, D.C. is not a swamp, as I've said many times. It's a sewer. Swamp's made by God. Sewer is man-made, and it stinks. Yeah, there's a slush fund, and there's been over $17 million that has been spent on that of your money, of the taxpayers' money, to pay off people that have been involved in harassment in their office, sexual harassment, and other things. Granted, there's probably some just ask people just to walk away because of.
Yes, thank you, Jonathan Marcos, for the $10 on Cash App. With that puts us now just $53 away from the goal for an initial hour, and just $3 away from Bellavision. We're just $3 away from Bellavision. Just $3 away from Bellavision. Wow. The strike, the San Andreas fault line. Yes.
False accusations, but I think America needs to know. And Nancy Mason's resolution, all it said was, we want to know who it was and who got and how much money was involved, which congressmen were involved, and who got and how much money was paid. Not the victims. The victims would be redacted.
Do you know any members of Congress who need to be exposed?
I think I do, but the problem is I can't see the list. I think I've heard enough rumors, but they're just that, rumors. I'd like to see it. I'm the chairman of Doge, and this is just, I always tell people that thing that just ran by you was a glacier, because that's about our speed. And it's so disingenuous and it's the most unbelievable thing. They're pointing the fingers at everybody on Epstein, yet they're not looking in the mirror at themselves. That Bible verse comes to mind about that speck in your eye and that log in my own.
Yeah.
Is that a cricket I hear?
So this is, and Republicans voted against this too, and I'm going to get to that.
Oh, yeah.
The Democrats who voted against this.
The hell is making that
Rashida
noise?
Tlaib, Jasmine Crockett,
This guy got some kind of
Maxine
animal
Waters.
living in his office or something?
And they all said this about Epstein victims.
They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice.
Trump hides information of rape among young girls by Epstein. Have you seen this stuff?
Republicans have to decide if they're going to protect pedophiles or seek justice for survivors of sex trafficking and abuse.
Okay, so Congressman, just pretend we're not on TV here. Look, 357 out of 435 members of Congress voted against this, voted against exposing people who are sexually harassing other people, and the people that are doing it are duly elected members of Congress. How is that even possible?
It's because they're all in on it. And the word came from down on high. Don't vote for this thing. It's, they give some constitutional reason back and forth. The reality is it's about clarity. It's about transparency. But, it's funny, after we did this, you're probably one of the first national media groups that's interviewed me on this. I mean, this is crazy. This thing ought to be blowing it up. It ought to be a headline across the country of how we've done this. $18 million of your money has been paid to hush people up. And I'll tell you how I knew I had more clarity.
Payoffs, Congressman, right? These are taxpayer payoffs, right? Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And I have moral clarity on everything I do. All right. I pray about it. I walk off the floor. I feel good about it. I was walking down the hall the day after. This young lady came up to me. I don't know that I'd ever seen her or spoke to her in the past.
Okay.
And she said, "Congressman, can I speak to you?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I kind of leaned over and I said, because she was kind of quiet, she just said, "Thank you so much for voting for that bill."
I mean, good.
And I thought, wow, that kind of set me back a little bit.
Some young staffer, I'm sure. All right.
Something like that. I'm
Congressman,
sure she would,
I appreciate the compliment. I'd like to have you back. I'm going to welcome in Lauren Boebert now and get her take.
I'm going to welcome Lauren Boebert in a second. A cricket. Actually, I think that might be a frog or something. Some kind of frog, maybe. Like maybe he's got a pet frog or something, making that kind of I don't know. Where are all the illegals and tyrants? That's right. Jay Liebgott's here. Well, they could name names as a start. I don't know if they have the names. Like somebody maybe on the ethics committee might have the names. I don't know if they all have the names of all the people. They might know some stuff, but I don't think they have the names. I don't know. They could name the names on the House floor. That would be one way to do it. Jet Trinity Power says, consider revelations, the price of stuff, crypto inflation, etc. Avoid any type of barcode stuff on the skin. Yes. Don't let them put that implant in your skin to buy stuff. That's crazy. We are all being manipulated. And in my opinion, that would be one way to buy, sell, cash freedom. Buy, sell, cash freedom. Yes. Thank you. No man is allowed to be a judge in his own cause because his interest would certainly bias his judgment and not improbably corrupt his integrity. Madison, Federalist number 10. That's correct. He's right. Congress is hiding their sex crime while pointing the finger. It's outrageous. Frogs. Yes, it's the frogs. I wonder if his frogs are gay. Don't be afraid to rebuke the beast. Sounds like EVS's frog. It could be. Aren't Trump's felonies based on paying hush money to Stormy Daniels and Congress is using taxpayer money? The victims, I mean, could name names. Oh, yes. That's the thing that pisses me off. All these Epstein victims, name names. You're saying these other people are involved. Name fucking names. There's a reason they're not. That's because maybe they're not really, I don't know. There's a reason they're not naming names. It's because they don't want to get sued for defamation or slander. That's why. Maybe if they name names, maybe the people whose names they name will actually have evidence that these women were willing participants in whatever happened. I don't know. That's just my opinion off of seeing everything and seeing what's happened. And believe you me, if something happened, all right, to a family member of mine, and they wouldn't tell me, they just said, "Oh, this happened," but they wouldn't tell me who it was or whatever, wouldn't explain to me, I would have to question what the fuck's going on. Marty Smith says the survivors became perpetrators because they didn't want to give up the lifestyle. Oof. Well, Virginia Guffrey was the one that named Bill Clinton. The only one that named Bill Clinton. She's dead. Oh, yes. It said, what would they do if they actually have the files deny it like Bill Clinton did with the jacuzzi in Brunei and the flight attendant giving him a massage in the airport? Probably, Brooklyn. Probably. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not here to defend anybody who ever hurt a woman or hit a child. I will never defend that. I will hold these people accountable. I will gladly fire up the wood chipper and send them on their way. He lives in Louisiana. Yeah, he's probably a northern or southern cricket frog. Okay. Yeah. Hey, 300-yard wink. So nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's see. We'll listen to just a little Lauren Boebert.
On this, she's
Good.
again one of only 38 that voted for this, which is shocking. Lauren Boebert is a member of Congress from Colorado. Great to have you back on, Congresswoman. I want to ask you just about your colleague, a Republican, Tony Gonzalez, voted against this. Okay, Tony Gonzalez.
Hey, Shorty,
married.
great to see you.
He's got 6 kids. He had an affair with a staffer, a
frogs.
very public affair, and that staffer committed suicide. She lit herself on fire in her front yard. That's how she died. I can't think of a worse way to die. And he voted against this? What'd you make of that?
Well, I called for Tony Gonzalez to resign a couple of weeks ago, and I have put pressure on our leadership to call on him to suspend his campaign at the very least, which he did today. This is absolutely disgusting for anyone to vote against this, especially those who are saying that this did not protect victims. Of course, this protected victims. This was just a cop-out to send it to the Committee of Jurisdiction. How many times do we do things in the House of Representatives that doesn't bring a bill to the House of to the Committee of Jurisdiction? And this is one way that they were looking to cover up these sexual assaults that took place, the sexual misconduct by members of Congress. And so it does not surprise me that Tony voted against this. And there are other allegations out there that I don't think have made the news yet, that there were other staff members that he was also pursuing and or making inappropriate comments to. And this is just unacceptable that your tax dollars go to silence the victims and pay them off like this. I mean, everything that we do is scrutinized, it's open and transparent. And when a member of Congress is being sexually inappropriate with a staff member, that's the part we keep quiet. I think this is gross.
His girlfriend burned herself to death in her front lawn. She was married too. I don't know how morally you vote against something like this after that just happens. I've got 30 seconds, Congresswoman. Do you know, same question I asked Tim Burchett, do you know anyone on the Hill that needs to be exposed?
I do not personally know anyone that needs to be exposed who has been in inappropriate relations with their staff. I know that there are crazy things that go on DC, and I think a lot of it is consenting. But I don't know of anyone personally, but I think everyone should know. And this slush fund technically was ended years ago. I think there are other ways to pay off staff members or to leave, have them leave with a large sum of money as they move on into a different area of their career in hopes that they will be quiet.
We got a raid.
But in all of this, it needs to
Shorty
come
has
out.
raided the stream.
This
Thank
is one
you,
of the
Shorty.
grossest things that I have learned of, and I think it was one of the most cowardice votes I've seen from my colleagues. And when Pam Bondi comes before the Oversight Committee, I will be damned if I allow any Republican or Democrat to get on her for anything related to the Epstein files after they have covered up for their own colleagues.
Lauren Boebert, we're going to have you back. I appreciate you doing what you did this week.
Oh, that's great, right? That's great news, isn't it? Well, thank you. I didn't see that. I am sorry. I didn't see the raid come in earlier, Shorty. I didn't see it. I apologize. But thank you for the raid. Yes, green sirens. Boebert put Hillary's feet to the fire. Spud says it's a raid. Lit herself on fire. No mental issues there. Or did she or someone else? That's the thing. Like, to me, I wouldn't think a woman would light herself on fire. That's just my opinion. Like, I don't know. Yes. Pam Graham says I like her. I don't know. I think she's a, yep, go girl, Pam, Pam incoming. Yeah. Well, let's go. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. All right. So Kevin Kiley will be running as an independent to keep his job. Kylie, the first elected in 2022, made an announcement on Friday, months after California redistricting would have forced him to run in a redrawn district that now leans Democrat. Gerrymandering is a plague on democracy, one that Gavin Newsom has brought to California. But there's a way we can fight back and protect our democracy from this partisan games by removing partisanship from the equation. Today, I filed for re-election as no party preference. This guy's going to lose, by the way. He's not going to win. As an elected representative, I've always seen my role as being an independent voice for our community. Since California redrew his district, Kylie has been critical of House Speaker Mike Johnson and co-sponsored legislation to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. So this is another California rhino who wasn't really, he's not a far leftist, wackadoo, transgender, everything demon rat, but he's like a Bill Clinton Democrat. What Bill Clinton in the 80s Democrat, 90s Democrat. That's who he is. He's been frustrated by the hyper-partisanship in Congress. So what does he want to do? Does he expect one side to just lay down their arms and let the crazy people win? If there's one thing Americans can agree on, it's that political division has become a serious problem. He'll be running in California's 6th district after previously representing the 3rd district. He's already raised $2 million for his reelection as of 2025, far outpacing his rivals. Well, did you cover the North Miami mayor from 3 weeks ago? Is that the mayor? I don't know. Is that the mayor? Is that the mayor that got caught? Is that the mayor that got caught sleeping with a 16-year-old? I'm not sure. I know I saw something about a mayor that got caught sleeping with a 16-year-old. Oh, I don't know. All right. We got this story. Check this out. 53% of Americans view fellow citizens as morally bad. Highest among 25 countries in the Pew poll. There was a partisan split with 60% of Demon Rats and Demon Rat leading independents rating fellow Americans as morally or ethically bad, compared to 46% of Republican and Republican leaners. Yeah, they think you're morally bad if you don't murder babies and you don't let kids chop their wangs off. They think you're morally bad. That's what they think. So I don't know. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, and we still haven't hit the Bellavision. We're $3 short, but I'm going to go ahead and activate Bellavision. Even though we're short $3, just because I would feel bad if we got within $3 and didn't hit it. So I'm gonna add her, if just in case we don't hit it, and that way at least we have some Bellavision towards the end of the evening. Is that okay with everybody? Nobody's upset about that, right? I hope. Oh, there's a rant. Look at that. There's a rant. See how that goes? $5. Let's see Bella. What do you know? Look at that. See, I go ahead and I do it, and then it comes in. $5. Thank you, Spuds. Thank you, Spuds. Has it been 2 hours already? It's been 1 hour and 53 minutes right now. Yes. Oh, here's another $2 now for Bella. Yay, spring forward. We didn't even hit that yet. We haven't changed time. I'm just looking at the amount of time we've been streaming. So the $5 from Spuds and then another $2, that's $7 will come off. So that means we are now $46 away. We're now $46 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much. So very generous. So very generous. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Yay, spring forward. Yes, thank you all. Yo, Spuds. But this lady, there is a rumor of her supposed husband being gay. Whose husband? Are you talking about Lauren Boebert? Her husband's gay? Maybe. Or are you talking about the... Let me do this. See if another story popped up. Yeah, so let's see here. New York Sun will read, I think. Right? Are Americans morally bad? Most seem to think so. New survey finds. 109? What's 109? So it's 1 a.m.? No, it's not 1 a.m. not yet. It doesn't, the clocks don't change forward till 2 a.m. Like 2 a.m., I think, when they switch. In a Pew Research study, America was the only country among 25 surveyed where a majority of respondents said their fellow citizens lack good morals. Huh. America was the only country among 25 where a majority of respondents said their citizens lack good morals. That's it. That's the story. I guess that's it. That's the story. Huh. Should we look at the chart and see what it says? Maybe. Let's see. U.S., very good, very bad. Well, I mean, it's close. I mean, Italy, 59% is very good. Wow, look at Canadian. See, look at this. This shows you everything you know. Canadians think that they're the best thing in the world. They think they're all the greatest. Look at 92% of Canadians think that their fellow citizens have good morals. So that's what you call like people that are insane. That's what you call insane people. Insane people. 92% of them think they're, yeah. Well, that's just crazy. Then we got this story, which I thought was very interesting. It says, Israel and Iran trade more blows. This early in a month, what's with that? Worked out well later, all other in the month of RE time. Yeah, I don't know. Saturday, March 7th, Iranian President Mahmoud Pezeshkian apologized to state media, saying, I personally apologize to the neighboring countries that we were affected by Iran's actions, but omitted the apology on social media. Yes, I wish they'd do away with it altogether. I don't see why we have it. They should just pick the time and let it stay the same. Amid intense external strikes, the interim council, including Pezeshkian, agreed to suspend attacks on nearby states, prompting de-escalation gestures amid a leadership vacuum after Khamenei's death. Says delay is obvious was gifted a membership by Spuds. Well, thank you, Spuds. Let me go look and see what that says over here. Let me see what Spuds did. So Spuds, Spuds gifted one membership. Thank you so much, Spuds. So that means now we are $41 away, just $41 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. The sane people that euthanized 100,000 people this year alone, they are morally superior. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Isn't that just crazy? That proves they're all insane. Yes, delay is obvious. Was gifted a membership by Spaz. Crazy. Cray, cray. Cray, cray. Cray, cray. Ugh. I might have to read something from one. Is that the Telegraph? Let's read the Telegraph. Yeah, so it says Iranian MPs condemn president's humiliating apology speech. Hardliners admonished President Mahmoud Pezeshkian reflects rifts in a leadership with supreme leader expected to be chosen within 24 hours. She says, I love the extra hour in the fall, except that it gets dark so early after the first night. Yeah. Iranian Heartline. Oh, man. I guess I can't read this story. I'll have to go find a different story. All right. Let's see. Okay. We'll do this one instead. So Israel-Iran trade war blows as president apologized for criticism at home. All right. Look at this. Trumpinator for $5. Thank you, Trumpinator. Thank you so much for $5. Thank you so much. So with that, that means we are now $36 away, just $36 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Trumpinator. So generous. So Trump on Saturday raised the possibility of war against Iran ending only once the country no longer has a functioning military or any remaining leadership in power. Ooh. Jim, the mayor is getting deported, falsely claimed citizen status, saw it on Epoch Times. It's in court now. Really? I will look that up. I will look that up in a second. I will look that up. Speaking of reporters, Trump said he is not interested in negotiating with Iran at this point, and then later added the air campaign could make it a moot point if all the leaders are killed and the military is destroyed. At some point, I don't think there will be anybody left, maybe to say we surrender. Trump's remark came on the day Israel and Iran traded numerous attacks in the Middle East. Iran's president apologized to neighboring states to cool anger across the Gulf, but stirred criticism from hardliners at home. I personally apologize to neighboring countries that were affected by Iran's actions. He dismissed Trump's demand for the unconditional surrender as a dream and said its temporary leadership council had agreed to suspend attacks on nearby states unless strikes on Iran originated from their territory. Trump nonetheless cast Iran's apology as a surrender while saying the country would be very hard hit on Saturday and warning the U.S. could widen its attacks. Thanks, Christine. What's that? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Why didn't that come up? Wow. Wow. Look at this. Chris Bean, 101. I believe that's our friend K Bean. Right? Yeah, that's our friend K Bean right here. Over there on the Rumble for a fitty spot. Man. Wow.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Well, thank you so much for that 50. With that, that means we are now, let's see, we are now $86 away from adding a second hour to the show. Thank you so much. We're now 86 away from adding a second hour to the show. Us cool. Yes, that's right. Thank you so much. Thank you, K Bean. That's right. Let me go into YouTube over here and correct this. Start another goal. 20 super chats. 5 or higher for 1 hour. Do this. Boom. Do this. Let's say we are now 86 away. And do this. And start to go. And we're off. New goal. Another hour. Awesome sauce. All right. Let's get back. Thank you so much, KB. That is amazing. And let's get back to the story. Don't fall into the moot. Yes. Thanks, everyone. Amid possible divisions within Iran's leadership over Pezeshkian's remarks, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a televised address, said any Iranian National Guards who laid down their arms would be unharmed. Netanyahu also said, we stand by all countries attacked by Iran. Many are talking to us. Ili al-Rashi al-Rajish, Iran's secretary for the Supreme National Security Council, said on television that there's no rift among Iranian officials over its handling of the war. Pezeshkian's comments caused a political stir in Iran, prompting his office to reiterate that Iran's military will respond firmly to attacks from U.S. bases in the region. Hours later, the president repeated his statement on social media but left out the apology from his speech that had angered hardliners, including the powerful Revolutionary Guards. Hamid Rasai, a hardline cleric and lawmaker, wrote on X, Mr. Pezeshkian, your stance was unprofessional, weak, and unacceptable. Judiciary Chief Mohseni Ajedi, a hardline member of the three-man council temporarily holding powers of supreme leader, said the territory of some regional countries was being used for attacks against Iran and retaliatory strikes would continue. Hours after the announcement, Iran's National Guard said their drones struck a U.S. Air Combat Center in Al-Dhafra Air Base near Abu Dhabi, capital of the United Arab Emirates. Reuters could not independently verify that report. Later into the night, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said that they had targeted Israeli refinery. According to state media, air raid sirens sounded in the Haifa area, but there were no reports of destruction. She said, "It's my beer money, lol. This is better." There were reports of rockets targeting a U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Security sources and witnesses said Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani ordered his security forces to pursue those responsible, according to the statement. The AP reported one missile landed on a helicopter landing pad in the large complex without casualties. In Iran, a local news agency citing an Iranian oil ministry said its fuel depots were hit by strikes in 3 areas, including Karaj, west of Tehran. The Revolutionary Guard also targeted U.S. forces at a base in Bahrain. Blasts were also heard in Doha, a Reuters witness said. Tehran has responded to the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran by hitting Israel and Gulf Arab states hosting U.S. military installations. Israel has launched fresh attacks in Lebanon after the Iran-aligned militia Hezbollah fired across the border. And also, I saw reports that the Lebanese military, the Lebanese government, started seizing Hezbollah's rockets. They just started taking them away. UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq have all reported drone or missile attacks over the past week. Israel warns Lebanon to rein in Hezbollah. With the conflict spreading, Israel warned Lebanon of a very heavy price that if it did not rein in Hezbollah, as it pounded the group's strongholds with airstrikes and mounted a deadly airborne raid in the east. On Saturday morning, more buildings in the Hezbollah-controlled southern suburbs of Beirut had been reduced to mounds of smoking rubble, dust, and tangled wires. Reuters video showed. The death toll from Israelis' attacks on Lebanon since Monday has risen to 294. The U.S.-Israeli attacks have killed 1,332 Iranian civilians and wounded thousands, according to Iran's UN ambassador. Huge explosions were heard in part of Tehran, state media reported, while Israel said it had struck Iranian missile sites and command centers. I guess if maybe there were civilians working at those places, they would have been killed. Iran's attacks have killed 10 people in Israel. Larijani cited reports claiming the American soldiers have been captured, but U.S. Central Command said no U.S. service members have been taken prisoner. That would be big news. What's it say? Gundam Zig says tracking radar at least 9 in-flight refueling tankers in the air in the vicinity of Israel right now. So things are heating up. That would mean maybe they're going to refuel somebody. It's probably going to refuel some B-2s or something coming in. What's up, Deke? How you doing? Way late start for the beginning. Oh, thanks, Deke. Thanks for being here. With that $2, that means we are now $84 away, just $84 away from adding a second additional hour to the show. Thank you all so much for being so generous. It says at least 6 U.S. service members have been killed. Their remains arrived Saturday at the Air Force Base in Delaware. Heating up or not stopping? Yeah, one of the two. One of the two. Iran's apparent strategy of maximum chaos has driven up the cost of the conflict by raising energy prices and hurting global businesses and logistical links. Kuwait's national oil company began cutting output on Saturday, adding to earlier oil and gas cuts from Iraq and Qatar. The war has roiled global markets and oil prices have hit multi-year highs, with the Strait of Hormuz effectively shut. The way is shut. Trump has said the U.S. Navy could escort ships in the Gulf. Trump reiterated his demand for a say in selecting Iran's new supreme leader, a notion rejected by Iravani. Hardline clerics have called for a swift selection of a new supreme leader. Ayatollah Hossein Mosafari, one of the 88-member Assembly of Experts, the clerical body charged with choosing the next leader, was quoted as saying the Assembly could meet in the next 24 hours to decide. Where are they going to meet, though? That's the problem. Wherever they meet, the Israelis might hit them. Might hit them. So that's interesting stories. Interesting stories. Then we got this story, which I thought was interesting. It says, classified U.S. intel report warns large-scale war unlikely to oust Iran's regime. So it's a classified report that somehow is being leaked to the Washington Post. Do we think this is real, or is this something somebody just made up? I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to know this day and age. You know, like I have to think a lot of times these stories are put out just to cause dissension in the ranks here back at home. That's what I think. Hey, just on Soulless Ginger's here. What's up? Great to see you. That's a great picture, by the way. It's propaganda, totally. Tony says that the location of the meeting will be sent out by pager. Yes, they've all been given new pagers, brand new pagers. That's very interesting, right? All brand new pagers they all got. It's unreliable. Let's see here. Zero Hedge. It says, U.S. intelligence community assessed that massive attack unlikely to oust the Iranian regime. Well, it sure seems like they ousted the Iranian regime because Khomeini's dead. They are starting to use the B-52s in Iran. That means Iran's air defense and radar system are effectively dead. Let's say buffs have a huge radar cross-section and massive heat signature. Yeah. Got the number? What number? Hi, Bella. Yes. Oh, the number for the pagers. I get it. Pagers sent in from Israel. What's up? 100%, Dan. 100%, Mr. Gigax. Definitely. Even a massive military assault on Iran is unlikely to topple the Islamic Republic and its state system, according to a classified assessment produced by the U.S. intelligence community shortly before the U.S. and Israel launched their current shock and awe-style campaign. Perhaps based on some kind of leak. The Post first reported perhaps based on some kind of leak or briefing by an anonymous intelligence official and calls it a sobering assessment. Oh, yes. The report compiled by the National Intelligence Council roughly a week before the war concluded that Iran's political system is structured to survive even major leadership losses. However, this should really come as no surprise to anyone awake and observant throughout the past 2+ decades of America's nation-building efforts. How long did it take to topple Saddam Hussein? Seriously, how long did it take to topple Saddam's government? A week? 2 weeks? It was just the rest of the fight that was the problem. In comparison, when you got the $50 rant, there were only 3 tankers up. Oh, okay. Now there's 9. Wow, that's interesting. The Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq to Libya. Well, already Israel and the U.S. have touted that all of Iran's top leadership has been decimated, and yet clearly the governing system and military, led specifically by the elite IRGC, is not only in control but still fighting back. Okay. So I guess we just have to hit them harder. According to the assessment, Tehran has long prepared for such contingencies, and there's likely an emergency plan now in place in the wake of Ayatollah Khomeini's death. I've never heard of the National Intelligence Council, and I worked for the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. Yeah, I think they just made it up. I really do, because it's NSA, whatever, and it's the Office of National Intelligence. Is ONI, Office of National Intelligence, which that's Tulsi Gabbard, I believe, right? Tulsi's either the NSA or Office of National Intelligence. She's the head of intelligence. Intelligence officials say Iran long ago established clear succession protocols designed to maintain continuity of power even if senior leaders are killed. In other words, the death of the supreme leader would likely trigger an internal transition process rather than cause the system to collapse. Again, something which should be obvious scenario. Oh, yes. Yeah. Rest of fight was to scam money. If not all was. Jim, we can't control who leads Iran using jets and missiles. What if they just keep killing everybody in charge? I don't know. I'm just saying. What if every time someone becomes a leader, they just kill them? And then wouldn't that kind of do something? Maybe? I don't know. The intelligence report also poured cold water on the idea that Iran's opposition could quickly fill any power vacuum. U.S. intelligence analysts assess that the country's fragmented opposition movements remain too divided to seize control. Well, I will say that yes, the country is divided and there's all different factions. That's the problem. That's why these people who are not a majority were able to take control, because everyone else couldn't get along. So you have right now like 30% of the country controlling 70%. Trumpinator says it will never end. Jim, why is it that you think it's just so easy? I didn't say anything was going to be easy, Trumpinator, and I didn't say that it wasn't going to take ground forces. Just I don't want them to be our ground forces. I don't want them to be our ground forces. Use the Kurds, use the Saudis, use the Jordanians. You know what I mean? Use the countries that use their neighbors that actually matters for who's in control. Use those people's military to go in and clean it up. That's all. Equally unlikely, according to current and former U.S. officials familiar with the analysis. Oh, wait, so current and former officials familiar with the analysis. So how can it be it's an analysis that was done a week prior to this if there's former officials that are talking about the analysis? That doesn't make sense, does it? So it's somebody, they might have just blown it out of the bag right here if they have people talking. Was there anybody fired that saw this report, if this report exists? I guess they just blew up their spot. Hey, B-Hops, what's up? Yeah. We could speculate that the possibility may have a chance for some degree of success within opening 1 or 2 days of the mass bombing, but it clearly didn't materialize. Yes, it's all BS. Welcome to the U.S. elite foreign policy discourse, where you have to stroke your chin and muse thoughtfully about whether it's a good thing to trigger state collapse and civil war in a nation of 90 million. It didn't pose an imminent threat. Well, Marcus Stanley, fuck you. Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. They were an imminent threat to the world. War has clearly had a few snags, but you have to assume that if Trump determined to collapse the Iranian regime and create civil war conditions, we can, in fact, pull that off in not too long. But is it a good idea? Jim, just to let you know, I want to be wrong, but common sense tells me I'm not. Well, we'll see. The people are revolting. No military can suppress the population while fighting a war. The power of the people is the Leviathan. Yes, John Locke. Yes. Language. I know. Turka Muhammad Jihad. Turka Muhammad Jihad. There is no other force within Iran that can confront the remaining power that the regime has, says Susan Maloney, an Iran scholar and vice president of the Brookings Institute. Oh, okay. Even if they have support of U.S. air power, are you saying that if the Kurds attack and we provide them air cover, that they would get decimated? I don't know. The people in Iran control who will lead them. Yes, that's true. That's exactly. B Hops is a mod here. He wanted to do something one night, Hamburger Helper. He wanted to do a raid, so I made him a mod to do the raid, and I don't know. And why? Did not know. What's wrong? The National Intelligence Council synthesizes the analytical work of all 18 U.S. intelligence agencies. Oh, so this is just a bunch of bullshit. 18 intelligence agencies? Yeah, I think we have 17 too many. And produces classified estimates meant to guide policymakers on major geopolitical risks. Much of the American public raised on Hollywood movies tend to have an overblown and inaccurate understanding of U.S. intelligence agencies like the CIA, where while the CIA certainly has a very powerful and secret covert operations side and even a tinier ground branch, the bulk of its personnel and overseer top officials are analysts. So there's an overt side and a covert side, with the analyst side tasked with providing IC in the White House with a realistic picture of the world. Ideally, devoid of policy or ideology, their job is to often game out all the worst possible scenarios given a certain course of action. Yeah, Iran has no tanks or heavy artillery. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Bibi will sucker Trump into sending troops in. I respectfully disagree. Thanks. I like hamburger too. Who will control Iran? It will be those with the most guns. That's why we got to give them some guns. Only vegans hate me. Over 200,000 Americans have been killed by the old Iranian government in terrorist attacks. I'm not sorry they are gone. Studebaker report, 1942 to 89, FBI report, Bush opium trade trafficking with China. If any other, CIA was born. They were born to be naked in the eye of a storm. They have people, and they are praising Trump for answering their calls for help. Meanwhile, the White House has not said whether Trump was briefed on the assessment for approving the operation, but likely such an assessment would have made it into the CIA's daily brief, CBD, the PDB, President's Daily Briefing. Also given reports from last week, the Pentagon also tried to inject some realism into terms of unknowns once Tehran is attacked. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, I don't know if the report is true or not. I don't know if the report exists. I don't know if this is just all stuff that people made up, because I don't like that it says like, oh, former intelligence people familiar with the report. Well, you said this report was just drafted a week before. So to me, it doesn't make sense. Oh, Hamburger Halper says, I'm wishing for Mod, asking for Mod should wish me luck. I guess I could. I guess I could take care of that. He says, okay, moderate on different channels, obviously. Okay, mod me. If I F up, delete me. Okay. All righty. All righty. Done. All righty. Done, 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 done. Dun, 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 dun. That took a long time. Hey, what did I miss? Just some news. So they want a monarchy? I don't know. Sounds like this report was done from people that have no clue what the current situation is. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay. When I went and looked it up, I was surprised it wasn't that old. The last Pahlavi was the grandson of the first one, and he wasn't a royal. No, they're descended from. They're connected somehow to the monarchy that dates back like thousands of years, from what I understand. Maybe I got that wrong. I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong. I don't know. It's possible. Oh, we got this story. It says Tunisian authorities detain pro-Palestinian activists preparing for a new Gaza aid flotilla. Yeah, like Tony says, Trump answered calls for help and made an actual chance for peace in the Middle East. I hope so. I do. I hope so. Thanks, Jim. I didn't know that. On Friday, Tunisian authorities detained several pro-Palestinian activists amid a probe by Tunisia's National Guard Financial Crimes Unit into donation funds for a planned flotilla. So they're all go, wait. What are you doing with this money? What's going on with this money? Where are you getting this money? Where's it going? What are you doing with it? Organizers say the new flotilla includes more than 1,000 activists and sailed from Spain, Tunisia, and Italy with a land convoy expected to attract thousands more. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, where you at? So let's see. The New Era. We'll just read the Associated Press. So it says Tunisian authorities detained pro-Palestinian activists. Tunis, Tunisia. Authorities detained several pro-Palestinian activists Friday as tensions mounted around an international campaign preparing a new humanitarian flotilla to challenge Israeli restrictions and bring aid to Gaza. We're all here to leer, so encourage different opinions and healthy discourse. Yes, we're all here to leer. This is the Leering Center. Tunisian media reported that Tunisia's National Guard Financial Crimes Unit opened an inquiry into suspected money laundering. What do you know? And fraud and the alleged misuse of funds collected through donations to the flotilla campaign. Just pause there for a second, let you all. What are you talking about? What do you mean? The probe reportedly targets several managers and members of the flotilla steering committee. Oh, it's a steering committee. They steered a flotilla, with certain members taken into custody as authorities verify the origin and management of the donation funds. Tunisian authorities didn't publicly comment on the detentions. Activists said police detained Walil Nawar, Jawir Chana, and Nabil Chanufi of the Global Sumud Flotilla Steering Committee and its Tunisian organizing body. None of the detained have commented. Organizers accuse authorities of targeting activists supporting the Palestinian cause and calls for their immediate release. Yes, that's the thing. If you just cry and say that, oh, you're targeting me because of my political beliefs, then it's, you're fraud and you're money laundering and all this other stuff. None of that matters. None of it matters then. That's what they say. The detention followed several days of disruptions to the flotilla-related events in Tunis linked to preparations for a new civilian mission seeking to sail towards Gaza. Israel and Senators intercepted boats and detained activists on a similar flotilla effort last year. Let's say Joe Sabalos, mayor of Coldwater, Kansas, is facing deportation after he's charged with 6 felonies related to allegedly voting illegally as a non-citizen. Another one, huh? Jonathan Marcus says there are A-10s now in the Gulf getting ready to open the Strait of Hormuz to escort ships. Oh. I would rather them send a bunch of AC-130 Spectre gunships. That's what I would like them to say. Send. United Nations says hundreds of thousands of pallets of humanitarian supplies have been collected at various crossings into Gaza since the fragile ceasefire in October. But Israel has suspended more than 24 humanitarian organizations from operating in the Gaza for failing to comply with the new registration rules, and Gaza's population of over 2 million Palestinians still faces a humanitarian crisis. Wow, 2 million now. I remember they said it was only 1.5 million, so they boosted it up since then. According to organizers, the new flotilla is set to include more than 1,000 activists, including medical doctors, war crimes investigators, and engineers. What exactly is a war crimes investigator? Just somebody that says, everything's a war crime. It's all war crimes. That's what they got. It will be supported by a land convoy that's expected to attract thousands more. The boats are expected to sail from Spain, Tunisia, and Italy. Authorities banned a planned event Thursday in Tunis that had been expected to host international activists, including Brazilian campaigner Thiago Avila, Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg. How dare you? How dare you? Global March to Gaza Palestinian organizer Saif Abu Kashuk. B-Hop says they F like rabbits, except rabbits don't F their cousins. Couscous cousins. They're couscous cousins. Avila's team said on Facebook that he was also detained Friday at Brussels airport while traveling from Tunis to Amsterdam. For a meeting at the Hague Group, a bloc of states committed to legal and diplomatic measures in defense of international law. International law is established by the person with the biggest gun. Earlier this week, activists said security forces prevented a ceremony at the Tunisian port of Sidi Bouzid intended to honor port workers who had supported their previous flotilla mission last year. Prior to Friday's arrest, the Tunisian branch of the flotilla steering committee has also called for a protest in Tunis on Saturday night in support of Iran, following strikes by the United States and Israel. Well, that's the thing. If they're taking these political positions, they're not a nonprofit by any sense of the or word of it. So that's an interesting story, right? This is interesting, too. It says, Trump says defense contractors agree to quadruple production of exquisite class weapons. At the White House on Friday, President Trump announced CEOs agreed to quadruple production. So let's see. Let's pull up one of these stories. Zero Hedge, Thinking Conservative, Epoch Times, Straight Times, Daily Signal, Breaking Defense, Red State, Just the News, Fox News. All right, we'll do Epoch Times. Epoch Times, nobody but closing time. Trump says U.S. defense contractors to quadruple munitions production as rapidly as possible. After the meeting with Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Honeywell, among others, the president said the Pentagon has virtually unlimited supply of weapons. President Trump met with executives of the nation's largest defense contractors on Friday at the White House and said they agreed to quadruple production of the exquisite weaponry as rapidly as possible. Epoch Times. The president said in True Social Post that he and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth sat down with the CEOs of BAE Systems, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon parent company RTX, Boeing, Honeywell, and L3 Harris Technologies to appraise how swiftly munitions stockpiles can be expanded under an accelerated program implemented last fall. Expansion began 3 months prior to the meeting, and plans of production on many of these weapons are already underway, Trump said. Oh, man, what's this? It says, damn, my cat is freaking out. There's a raccoon outside my window. Ewalkie Times, nub nub. Way wop, way wop. The president did not elaborate on what he meant by exquisite weaponry, but there have been concerns raised this week in congressional hearings and elsewhere about stressed inventories of air defense systems and interceptor missiles, most notably for terminal high-altitude defense, THAAD, Patriot, and Aegis systems that have knocked down more than 500 raging missiles and 2,000 drones since the conflict kicked off on February 28th. Freeing Iran lets me sleep at night, finally. Yes. During the March 4th Senate Armed Service Committee Readiness and Management Support Subcommittee, readiness and logistics chiefs from 5 branches would not discuss munitions stockpiles in public. The Joint Forces is burning through costly inventories and precision-guided munitions, said Senator Mazie Hirono. Ah, yes. Moreover, these munitions take a long time to replenish and risk being unavailable for unforeseen contingencies elsewhere. Mazie Hirono must be the stupidest person in Congress. That's all I'll say. Moreover, these munitions take a long time to replenish, risk being unavailable for steam. Indo-Pacific, where we face an adversary. The 5 officers agreed to send Hirono via classified email a snapshot of the current munition inventory, projected burn rates, and any magazine shifting you're doing to meet the demands of the massive U.S.-Israeli campaign against Iran. Me thinks somebody got through to Trump that the contractors were dicking around in production. Still need to bump non-PGM munitions production. Desperately need to expand and disperse ship construction. Yes, that would be nice. What do I make of Tucker Carlson? He's not the same host I was watching on Fox News. I don't know if he got bought off by the Qataris, as a lot of people are saying, that he's taking Qatari money. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't, We have a virtually unlimited supply of medium and upper medium grade munitions, which we are using. As an example, in Iran, we recently used in Venezuela. Regardless, however, we have increased orders at these levels. Yeah, Maisie Hirono was born ignorant and has been losing ground since. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pentagon officials referred to the Epoch Times to the White House for comment. Trump administration will soon ask Congress to approve a supplemental $50 billion request for the Department of War to boost munitions productions. Yes. Mom Bill says, I used to like Tucker. I can't even watch him anymore. I knew he wasn't the brightest bulb, but man. Tucker mixes in so much base info, but slips in disinformation. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yeah, Tucker, Megyn Kelly, Candace, yeah. The prospective $50 billion request follows $150 billion in supplemental defense funding Congress approved after adopting the $900 billion fiscal year 2026 defense budget in late 2025. Thank you, Jim. I will do my best. Jim. I hope so. One can only hope. So that's interesting. Oh, I don't know why I'm so tired. Oh, my back is killing me. Ugh. Oh, this is an interesting story. It says NASA's DART impact altered asteroids orbit around the sun. Study refined. So, yes, we are purposely hitting asteroids with crap to try and divert their course. I hope, however, they're diverting it, it's not putting it to make it come closer to the Earth. Why am I yawning? What is going on? It says NASA's DART spacecraft rammed Dimorphos in September 22, and the impact ejecta acted like an extra rocket plume, roughly doubling the momentum transfer with a beta parameter near 2. Using 22 stellar occultations and nearly 6,000 ground-based astronomic measures, researchers detected the orbit shrank by about 1,200 feet in 0.15 seconds. Wow, 1,200 feet. That's crazy. Jason says, I honestly don't have a good feeling for Trump once the Iran situation is done. A lot of people have turned on him. Yeah, we'll see. He'll do Cuba next. Cuba could fall a lot sooner, especially if Venezuela cuts him off. Could be a big problem. I never really liked Tucker. Seriously, he was like what we call clickbait, always has in guests and extreme points of view and giggling at them. Okay, I value your opinion. It says, right on, Gal. What's up, girl? How you doing? Why you got glasses on the top of your head? It says, I'm beginning to believe that Tucker, Candace, MK are CIA or at least adjacent. Hence, Heya and bicycle friends just got home after a long, busy shift and hitting the hay in less than 120 seconds. Thank you for being here, Ryan and Gal. Please remember to hit the like button on your way in or on your way out. Either way, Gundam Zig says, I think we are boring Jim. We got to step up yelling at him. Tucker, pretty bad when your handler disavows you. Oh, I'm going to have to pull that up. I like the word ejecta. Ejecta Ramus. Yes, definitely. Glasses atop the head are always ready when you need them. Yeah. Right on, Gal. We do have pictures of Tuck at the farm in his 20s, very young. So yeah, it's right here. Look at this. Look at this. So study reveals that NASA spacecraft sent to smash an asteroid successfully diverted its course. But how much though? How much did it really move it? The farm means CIA headquarters, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, the farm was not the headquarters. The farm was the training facility in Virginia. I think it was in Virginia. Langley is not the farm. Langley is headquarters. The farm is where they. That's the slang. Langley was. Langley was. It's different. The farm is the training facility. I believe the farm is the training facility. I believe where they did the training. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe Langley is but I thought Langley was. The farm is the CIA training area. That's what I thought. They just pulled a KB and top chat. All right. Do we need to make you coffee? Well, I haven't. This is the thing. I don't know. I haven't been drinking Red Bull. All right. It's been several days. I haven't been drinking Red Bull. So, Rana Gal says, we have a huge CIA training spot down here in Northeast North Carolina, too. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. The farm, that might be I don't know where the farm is. Maybe the farm is in North Carolina. I don't know. Wow, look at that. Survival of humanity may one day depend on the capability to change asteroids' courses. Could be. Out of the many apocalyptic scenarios for the world and its inhabitants, probably one is so frightening and in a way inevitable that the possibility of a collision of a wandering space rock with our planet. I would say, what's my Texas Senate prediction, Paxton or Cornyn? I predict Paxton. You constantly hear them blowing stuff up, Harvey Point. As it turns out, our first experimental mission has been successful in doing so. 4 years ago, NASA purposely smashed the spacecraft into a small asteroid to see if we could deflect it. A test to prove humanity could protect Earth from threatening space rocks. New research out Friday says the experiment pushed the moonlit asteroid slightly off course. Huh. Interesting. That's the asteroid. Asteroids. It says, it's the first time that a celestial body's orbit around the sun was deliberately changed. The asteroid that NASA's DART spacecraft slammed into was never a threat to Earth. Well, maybe it is now that they moved it. Yeah, I looked it up. It's the training facility at Camp Peary in York County, Virginia. Yeah, I thought it was something like that. The study marks a notable step forward in our ability to prevent future asteroid impacts on Earth. The international research team wrote in Science Advances. The changes were slight, reductions of just 1/10 of a second and 1/2 of a mile to a solar lapse spanning 2 years and hundreds of millions of miles, according to scientists. Dan says the farm is Camp Perry, Virginia, where the CIA has a training facility. Maisie Hirono is on the short bus. I agree. This isn't science fiction. A NASA mission successfully changed the orbit of an asteroid system. Even though this seems small, a tiny deflection can add up over decades and make the difference between a potential hazardous asteroid hitting or missing the Earth in the future. Well, I'm saying, I hope they didn't nudge this and now it's going to, after time, it's going to keep getting closer till it hits Earth. She looks like a Gumby blockhead. Oh, yes. Definitely. The pure kinetic energy of a 500 kilogram spacecraft hitting at hypersonic speeds is impressive, but on its own, it would not slow a huge asteroid that much. When DART struck Dimorphos, it blasted pulverized rock and dust out into the void. The void. The material kicked up off an asteroid surface acts like an extra rocket plume. Scientists call this effect momentum enhancement factor, denoted by the Greek letter beta. Beta! Beta! Jake Levi goes, science facts, right up my alley. Yes. Cornyn is a relic and a disgrace. Scientists call this effect, because Dimorphos orbits Didymos, some of the ejecta remain trapped in the system where it altered the mutual orbit between the two rocks. But a crucial fraction of the ejecta achieved escape velocity from the entire binary system. The momentum carried away the system, escaping debris, and what ultimately contributed to shoving the center mass of the whole pair. In our case, we found that the beta parameter due to DART's impact was around 2. So it was number 2. Number 2. Okay, number 2. Okay, we were talking about Tucker a little bit, so let's see. It says, insanity. Qatar has now put out a statement to debunk Tucker Carlson's false allegation about Mossad operating there. Yes, Bella is off course. Yeah, they struck her with a spacecraft and moved her. Damn you dirty apes. I feel smart. More space facts. Yes, go to space facts there. WTSF shorts. So, yeah. Even in a country that's extremely friendly with Tucker is finding itself forced to call out the nonsense propagated by him because such lies make them look weak. So Qatar says no information on Mossad operating cells at the moment. This comes after U.S. broadcaster Tucker Carlson claimed that Qatar and Saudi Arabia arrested individuals linked to Mossad. Arrested individuals linked to Mossad. What does that mean exactly? Would that mean any U.S. person like operating there? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. When your own buddy calls you an out. Oh, this is interesting. So this is some just in. This moment is resurfacing of Texas U.S. Senate candidate James Talrico. Opposing voter ID, something supported by 85% of Americans. Shit, Cornyn's wife is 27 years younger than he is. That's gross. It's a lot. I low-key hate Tucker's laugh. My friend plays bass guitar. Get a space blanket. Oh, okay. Get a space blanket. Cool. So Taralco's reasoning, some people don't have driver's licenses.
With voter ID? Are you okay with voter ID?
So voter ID is currently required in the state of Texas. I opposed having to
How about
have
for
a driver's
mail-in
license
ballots?
to vote.
How about having to send your ballot in? Should you have to prove who you are? Because that's what Democrats are opposing.
Pete, I just said I oppose voter ID. Currently, it's a law in Texas, but I oppose that law because I think you don't need it.
You oppose voter ID? You don't think the most sacred obligation of our republic, you should have to prove who you are in order to vote?
So there are a lot of Texans, actually hundreds of thousands, who don't have a driver's license.
Are you okay with voter ID?
He says there's hundreds of thousands of Texans that don't have a driver's license. Do they have a state ID? Because it doesn't mandate driver's license. This is the fucking lies that these demon rats tell. Driver's licenses. What if you don't drive? He got a DUI. He doesn't have a license. He can't vote. Oh, KBT says, yes, James Talrico. Dad kept the heat at 52 in New Hampshire and gave us space blankets. Oil was expensive in the 80s. It's kind of surreal. Talaco. Pecker hair. Yeah. Yes, he does. You don't need a driver's license. State ID is enough. Yes. State ID, passport, any number of IDs, anything. Anything that would be required if you wanted to go into a fucking liquor store and buy a bottle of booze or a case of beer. You know? But they would go to jail if they had ID, Jim. I mean, come on. Come on. If you don't have ID, you don't need to vote. That's the way I look at it. Oh, you don't have an ID? You can't get on a plane. You can't get on a plane. As of February 1st this year, if you don't have a real ID, supposedly you can't get on a plane. I'm sure that only applies to U.S. citizens. I bet that doesn't apply to illegal aliens. Come on, man. Come on, man. Walgreens won't sell you cigarettes without a valid ID. Yes. Mm-hmm. I tell Rico, I agree that him defeating Jasmine Crockett is pretty good because that means right now she's preparing for her new job. Which is, would you like fries with that? You can get on a plane with a passport. Yes, you can with a passport. Yeah. But, they're saying you need like a passport or a real ID if you have a driver's license. Shamone. Ha, hoo, ha. Michael Jackson. Or a green blanket for a green screen. Yes. Hey there, Snarf. What's up? Shamone. We saw a Southwest flight. We saw that. We saw the Southwest flight. We saw the warrant bullshit that they're trying to do because they want to stop all immigration. We saw this career criminal was arrested for raping the 94-year-old. We saw this about the 6-year-old getting kidnapped. We saw this about Nick Shirley, about the bombing. We saw this about the Thune Act, Thune opposing this. We saw this North Carolina woman with the nose ring. We saw this about John Cornyn. We saw this about the bombers. We saw this about Jesse Jackson's son. It's about the judiciary. So Matt Walsh says, so there's been a mass shooting and a bomb threat on a plane since the war in Iran began a week ago. Somehow there's basically no national conversation about this. None. Oh, look at this. So the DSA has no problem with pro-Khomeini psychopaths doing Nazi salutes in Washington Square Park. To them, they're just another block to the coalition built with overthrowing the West. Oh, look at that. Wow. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Very, very. Iranians confronted a vigil for Khomeini in Washington Square Park last night where one of the demonstrators did a Nazi salute. I mean, who are these people? Photo here. Click to read the article for Nazi salute pic. Oh, yes. Oh, a Muslim doing Nazi salutes. What do you know? Senator Tom Cotton says Arab nations are now lining up against Iran under President Trump. They didn't beg for peace. They asked Trump for targeting info to join the fight. That's a real coalition against the revolutionary Iran. Let's see.
Iran targeted these Arab countries. They didn't plead for peace. They didn't ask Donald Trump to stop. They asked Donald Trump for targeting information so they could join in the strikes in Iran. That's what a real coalition looks like. We're all now fighting together to try to finally eliminate the threat that a revolutionary Iran poses to the United States, to our Arab friends, and to Israel.
And I think the chancellor...
Iran target...
Yes, absolutely, B. Hobbs. DSA stands for Democratic Socialists of America. Those are just, they're trying to rebrand because they thought Marxist, Communist, USA, it's the same thing. They're just a rebranding of Revcom, the Revolutionary Communists of America, Revcom USA. It's the same group. All the money, it's the same group. It's both the same thing. They're the same. It's no different. They're the same, Revcom, DSA, the same thing. Yeah, bingo. how can we ban that crap? There is a law on the books. Commies change their name once a week. Yeah, they change their name once people find out who they are, so that way they don't get shut down and people don't come after them. There is a law on the books that says it's illegal to be a member of the Communist Party. Just saying, in the U.S. It's been on the books. It's there. Mm-hmm. Yes, love the visual. Yeah, that's a beautiful plane. That's the plane from the movie Broken Arrow. If you guys remember that John Travolta, Christian Slater movie, Broken Arrow. Howie Long was in it. Beautiful plane, beautiful plane. It was designed to fly really fast, map to Earth low to avoid radar. So it's a little discussed in the West that the kingdoms of the Middle East have turned towards aspirations of prosperity rather than supporting jihad. For years, they have been structuring their militaries to be more like the U.S. military in order to defend themselves against jihadis, would gladly take out their kings and emirs. Yeah. Yes, we and the Islamists took out the Shah in 79. Hopefully, we've learned our lesson. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Da, 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 da. Tell me lies, tell me lies. All alone, long you can't describe. Oh, look at this. So Steve Witkoff reveals that during negotiations, Iran bragged to him as to how close they were to building a bomb. Yes, this is what happened, folks. This is why Trump went.
Is there still space to do a deal with whatever is left of the Iranian government?
I think there is. I think that's going to be up to the president. That's what I think. But they didn't seem to be very amenable in those first set of negotiations. You heard what I said. They said we have the inalienable right to enrich. They bragged about having 60%
yes, it is supposed to be illegal.
enriched fuel, enough for 11 bombs. And they told me and Jared, we're not going to give you diplomatically what you couldn't take militarily. So, I think they're going to need a change of attitude.
What sort of thing do you want to see in a deal? I mean, do you think you have maximum negotiating leverage at this point?
I think the president has proved that we have.
Iran today accused the U.S. of
a lot of negotiating leverage, maybe maximum, but we're not looking to settle. They'd like to settle. We're not looking to settle.
Who's that? That is Steve Witkoff. He was the head negotiator negotiating with Iran. He's been in charge, basically the guy that's been running around the world. He's the guy that negotiated the peace between, India and Pakistan. He negotiated the peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Negotiated a peace between the Congo and Rwanda. He was in charge of negotiating the peace in Gaza with the Israelis. He's been working on the whole stuff with Russia and Ukraine, and he was doing the negotiations with Iran. He's Trump's lead negotiator. I love Trump. They want us to settle. We're not looking to settle. Mostly I listen to stuff. Tonight I can watch. Well, thank you. Our drill sergeants would scream at the top of our lungs when we did bayonet training, stabbing things with a knife on the tip of your rifle. What makes green grass grow? Blood, red commie blood. That's right. Yes, that's right. The phrase free healthcare has done so much damage to Canada. It attracts so many effed up people. Yes. Crony capitalism is supposed to be illegal too. Yes, it is. It's a crime. It is a crime, but they hardly ever charge the people. Yes, commies are anti-American. Yes, communism is illegal in the U.S. Jim's talked about it before. Thank you, Tenant Bra. Thank you for being here. Please remember to hit the like button. Yeah. Commies change their name once a week. I think I saw that already. It's low. I mean, they thought they were being tough by telling us we have enough nuclear material that's already enriched to build 11 bombs. You're not going to make us give it up. You can't do it militarily, so you want us to negotiate away. And then Trump goes, I'll do it militarily. Okay, you said we can't do it militarily? Well, let's find out. Let's find out what the U.S. can do militarily, And it's different militarily. It's different than what was done in all these other things. Like even, Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, what was it called? Inherent Resolve, or what was it called? Or something, I can't remember. Inherent Resolve, I think it was, or something like that, or Absolute Resolve, or whatever it was, all these different things. They never took everything off the chain and said, go, just do, They never let them go free, weapons free on everything except nuclear weapons. Basically, right now, the U.S. military is weapons free on everything unrestricted bombing, unrestricted everything on military targets, except, they're not using nukes. That's it. No nukes. I sleep way better since 1/2025. I'm hopeful for our future like I never was in 2022. Yes, some of the best commies are the ones who stop bullets. Yes. That's a job we should, that's the one job that we should make that's reserved for commies. Bullet stop. Definitely. They should be professional bullet stops. We could basically, we could basically get rid of the gel that they used, ballistics gelatin, the ballistic blocks. Just use commies. Yep. Burped. Yeah, that sound. Whew, that sound, man. Can we get their satellites and all their mini subs? If the Ayatollah was captured alive, we could have interrogated him before execution for being a genocidal maniac. But the intel people didn't need to do that. Iran sends 2 satellites to Russia for rocket launch, says they're for civilian purposes. That was 2024. Dubai, Iran has sent 2 locally made satellites to Russia to be put in orbit by a Russian space vehicle. The semi-official news agency Tasman reported on Saturday in the latest space cooperation between the two U.S. sanctioned countries. The development of Kausar, a high-resolution imaging satellite, and Hadud, a small communication satellite, is the first substantial effort by Iran's private sector. But there is no private sector in Iran. That's the problem. There's no private sector in Iran. Oh, here we go. AstroTurf. CCP-sponsored anti-Trump protests are popping up nationally. The protesters are paid, given pre-printed signs, and have no idea why they're protesting. Wow, look at it. Yeah, look at this. Ask me. This is Commie Union. This is why look at this. Oh, look at this old guy with the cane. This is his day out. They let him a day out of the home. We got this weird looking thing here. Wow.
How's it going, everyone? We're outside the White House. As you can see, a bunch of pre-printed signs. How conveniently, all printed and ready to go. As the protesters are arriving, they're picking the pre-printed signs up. I guess we should call them protesters, because who brings pre-printed signs to a protest? As Trump says, it used to be made in people's basements. Now, someone just pays for the signs, and the protesters just pick it up. As you can see, they're moving the signs because they're caught. Stay tuned for more. We have a lot of interesting, great footage.
I think this is the guy that works with Laura Loomer, Steve Buscemi. I think this is Buscemi's kid. I don't know. It's not. I don't know his name. It's in their job. It's their job titles. Yeah. They don't have a vehicle that will deliver a bomb that may or may not explode on the tarmac. I mean, that honestly, like kind of off topic a little bit, that's kind of the thing that I wonder about is how many missiles that the U.S. or Russia probably, Russia has or U.S. has that actually wouldn't fly because they're so old and not maintained well that they just blow up. We have crap happen all the time when, space launches and stuff go wrong, all these different space launches. But these were vehicles that were built in the 60s and 70s, a lot of these missiles, 80s, maybe somewhere in the 80s, but a lot of them 60s and 70s, ICBMs, they're old. And they've just been sitting there. How many are rusted? How many, have valves that won't open? Just saying, I don't know. I'm saying I would be shocked, honestly, if more than 70%, maybe 60, 70% of the things actually took off. If they were able to be fired, you know what I'm saying? But that's just my thoughts, Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe unlike anything else we've ever seen with governments, in the U.S. or particularly the Soviet Union was fucking horrible about maintenance and stuff. They always lied, stole the money, sold shit off. They didn't do any of the maintenance they were supposed to. How many were maintained properly so they won't? Yeah. We gave them to Ukraine. Ask them. Iran can't even make one. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Anyways, let's see what else we got here. People are getting money and they're reporting this income to the IRS. Is the FBI investigating where this money is coming from? Why not? The NGOs issued 1099s. I'm with stupid. Yes, I'm with stupid. Boom, ba-dum, 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 bum. Oh, look at this. Oh, I forgot this. Bill Maher. This is great. Bill Maher, we bombed Iran. It's going now. If you expect me to say I hate it, I don't. Here, let's listen to Bill Maher. This might get me a strike, but whatever. I'll take it down if it does.
Also, this week, war. Did you hear about that thing? We bombed Iran, and it's going on. Now, have you expected me to say I hate it? I don't. Sorry. When he puts boots on the ground, yeah, then I'll hate it. Now, I know too many happy Iranian Americans. Sorry. And you cannot name one horrible thing that has happened in the Middle East in the last 50 years and not connect it to this fascist theocracy. They're like 6 degrees of they don't eat bacon. And it's popular. I mean, Iranians all over the world are doing the Trump dance. Have you seen that? The whole world is jerking off 2 guys at once now. It's amazing, yeah. Also, this week.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Maher, he's like, Bella upside down bothers you, American Dreamer. There's no way I can't fix it. I can rotate it 90 degrees. I can't rotate it 180 degrees. Soviets use liquid fuel. U.S. uses solid fuel rockets. Yes, but the problem, okay, the liquid fuel is more volatile and worse, and they probably would have a higher rate of failure. But solid fuels, they form cracks. They get cracks, and it becomes an issue. You get cracks in the solid fuel. You get cracks and stuff. So it could be bad. Like, where's it at? Where's it at? I saw that, and I want to talk about it. One post-retirement assessment of the AIM-54 Phoenix missile was maybe 1 to 10% accurate. Yes, the old missiles that we used to use, the old air-to-air missiles that we used to use on the fighter jets, like going back, I think the Phoenix was the old one. It was like really good. Heat Seeker, maybe. Was it a Heat Seeker? Was the Phoenix the Heat Seeker? I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. It might have been a radar guided, but I think it was a Heat Seeker. They would, during Desert Storm, like they were just blowing up. Like they would shoot them and they would just go off the rail. Some of them wouldn't even go off the rails. Some of them would just blow up. Like they were way past their lifespan. You know what I mean? They just were not, serviceable anymore. They were too old. They didn't rotate the stock. Stuff like that has like a shelf life, just like food. And once it goes bad, I mean, it might work, it might not. So the Dems have dreamed of war with Iran all my life, and I'm old. Yes. Do they have GPS? Jerking ghost dance. Yes. Thanks, Jim. I know she's okay. Okay. Iranian GPS. My dad thought Bill Maher was hilarious on HBO, but I told him. Yeah. Dual blade. Just heard a third carrier group getting ready to leave now for the Mideast. He's flip-flop. Yeah, he is. He said if there's ground troops, he's not going to like it and stuff like that. So we'll see. There's another couple videos from him that I'm going to play. I might have to clip all this stuff out. You not have a righteous permission to smear Donald Trump's noble act in Iran. He made some incredibly hard choices, but they were right choices. Obama's casualties are much heavier without cause. Yeah, look at this. Obama's covert drone war. 384 to 807 civilians killed, 563 strikes authorized. Obama's killed hundreds of civilians. That's right. Obama killed hundreds of civilians. And then leftist rioters blocking and smashing up a U-Haul van at the anti-Islam protest in New York City. They do this directly in front of NYPD because they know Mandami won't allow them to actually be prosecuted. NYPD has been cucked by the Ugandan mayor. Whoa, that's loud. That's loud. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, you're running tires! Off the tires! Get up! No! Get out! Get out!
That guy witnessed vandalism, criminal damage to property right there. The NYPD didn't do a thing. That's a problem. And the cores decay, tritium gas builds up. It has a half-life. Yeah. Sidewinder is heat. The Phoenix was F-14 only. Long-range radar missile was considered too expensive to test a lot of them. Okay. I knew they were the ones that were supposed to be like fire and forget, though, right? Like that they could hit. They had like a really long range, like super long range, like 100 miles or something, right? Am I right with that? 100 miles or 50 miles, something like that. It was many, many miles away. It could hit. Like they would basically, the F-14 would go supersonic, go up, would shoot it, and it would take off. So you're right. They were, okay. Sidewinder was he. All right, my bad. The USS Bush et al. Should be in the Mideast partway through March. Emits alpha, it becomes helium. God bless and protect our military. And now I'm deaf. I'm sorry. That's the part where you push the James Bond turret and light them all up. Yeah, turret button. Yeah. That's cheap. Only $19.95. Yeah, that's super cheap. Crime in progress. No arrest. Sounds like what we hear about almost most blue cities. Yeah, it's crazy.
Back off the van. Back off the van.
How about arresting some people? How about arresting some of these people? You know, that would be nice. Arresting some of them. Oh, we saw this. We talked about this. Trump loses 2-1 to dissent notes. Dissent notes no judicial review over issues, and SCOTUS has twice granted to stay. We talked about this TPS thing. Yeah. SCOTUS needs to get busy again. We have seen ruling this week contrary to out of D.C. One including a 9-0 from SCOTUS, and then this briefing filed on 3-5 promoted ignoring rules from SCOTUS by retired judges. Yeah, those judges should be thrown in jail. ICE says while they were running an operation in San Diego, a known agitator with a criminal history, including assault with a deadly weapon, DUI, domestic violence, interfered with ICE and then ran into a local high school. This is crazy. NYPD has confirmed the arrest of 2 Muslim domestic terrorists, one through a homemade shrapnel bomb containing nuts, bolts, and screws at conservative protesters in New York while shouting Allahu Akbar. The device had a hobby fuse that could be ignited. Wow.
At approximately 12:38 p.m., a counter-protester, identified as Amir Balat, an 18-year-old man, lit and threw an ignited device toward the protest area, landing in the crosswalk of East 87th Street and East End Avenue.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to stop this for a second because I got to talk to Gundam Zig for a second. I want to know this. He says nautical miles is 83.9 miles, Mach 4.3, AIM 54C, 99.4, 114 miles at Mach 5. Is that the AMRAAM? Is that the AMRAAM that they call it? Or is that the AIM AMRAAM? Is that different? Shit clipped the first part off by accident. That's all right. I know what you're talking about. I got it. What did he say? Do we have do that again and we have a problem? Ukraine got the old stockpile of weapons. Trump is testing the new stuff with the typical heavyweight bombs. Okay. What the hell is with all these damn idiots? Yeah, crime in progress, no arrest. Yeah, it's crazy. The Phoenix. The Phoenix has 89 miles, Mach 4.3. The AIM has 99.4 nautical miles, 114 miles, Mach 5. Yeah. Right at the end of the last video. Okay. Is that the AMRAAM that they call it, or is that a different one, the AMRAAM?
Witnesses reported seeing flames and smoke as it traveled through the air before it struck a barrier and extinguished itself a few feet from police officers. Mr. Balat then ran southbound on East End Avenue toward 86th Street and gets a second device from a man tentatively ID'd as Ibrahim Nick, 19 years old. Mr. Balat lights the device and starts running with it. He then drops the device on the west side of East End Avenue between East 86th and East 87th Streets. Officers immediately secured the area and they took both men into custody. This was all captured on NYPD Argus camera. The bomb squad responded and examined the devices. Based on preliminary examination and X-ray imaging, the devices, which were a bit smaller than a football, appear to be a jar wrapped in black tape, importantly with nuts, bolts, and screws, along with a hobby fuse that could be lit. At this time, we do not yet know whether the devices were...
We don't know what... Well, does it have explosive device stuff in it? Oh, this is good too. This is another Bill Maher thing. Ready? It's another Bill Maher thing. Let's see. This is good. Bill Maher.
What did you think of the trap that Trump laid in the State of the Union address, where he, just show the tape there, because I think it's self-explanatory what he did.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
And the Democrats didn't stand. I mean, obviously, it's a it's a deliberate trap, because they always played these games of Simon Says there at the State of the Union.
Well, I think you and I agree on this is all performative.
I know, but is it going to look bad in campaign ads?
I don't think anyone's going to remember that come campaign.
They will if they put it in the ad. What did you think of the trap?
Yeah, they will if they put it in the ad. That's right. Fucking Don Lemon. They're going to remember Don Lemon. Yeah. Yeah, look at this. Adam Schiff says, when Saddam Hussein fell, there were celebrations. 20 years later, not so many celebrations. Bill Maher, 20 years later, Iraq is actually in a pretty good place. People don't talk about that. Iraq is a much better country than it was. Let's see. Ready? Adam Schiff. Let's see.
Beginning, yeah, there are celebrations. When Saddam fell, there were celebrations. 20 years later, not so many celebrations.
20 years later, Iraq is actually in a pretty good place.
Well,
people don't talk about that. Iraq is a much better country than it was. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But that kind of goes unnoticed, that Iraq is not a failed state anymore. They actually have elections. They have opposition parties. They have a media.
Don't you think they got better after we left? Because when we were there, it certainly was not.
Right, but it would still be torture rooms in Saddam Hussein, and his kids would be in charge right
There
now.
would be thousands of Americans. Beginning, yeah, there are celebrations. When Saddam fell, there were celebrations. 20 years later, not so many celebrations.
Yeah, you know what? These people, I just can't get enough. Iraq is an effing unmarked graveyard. Iraq is much better now, much better. Yeah, it's BS. Yeah. Why isn't Donnie Lemon in jail? Adam Shit. Kind of a Molotov grenade. Yeah, the two biggest dicks on the planet. Wow, Jimmy Dore or that Macron guy? Hey, Kevin Sprague, what's up? What do you mean, Jimmy Dore or that Macron guy? I don't know what the question. Thank you, Michael P. Jordan. I don't know what's going on. What is going on? I don't know what's going on. I don't understand the comments. If you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing to my X channel. Okay. Bill Maher sets up Adam Schiff by reading a vague quote. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. This is another good one. I know I'm playing a lot. This is definitely going to I'm definitely going to have to clip this out.
This statement from the administration: the president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. That's too vague for you?
Totally vague.
Okay, because that's from Obama about Libya.
Well,
because that's from Obama about Libya. Yeah, Schiff's head makes him look like his face is shrinking. Yes.
Obama made the argument initially that he could go into Syria. I and many others pushed back on that argument. Ultimately, he did not go forward with going after Assad, even though Assad was gassing his own people, because he thought he might lose the vote in Congress. But I respect the fact that that was important to him, and the fact that he did not have the support of Congress meant that we weren't going to go forward. We are unquestionably at war now. The founders made an extraordinary decision at the time, which was not to give that power to the president, but to give it to the Congress, because they worried, I think, as Hamilton said, that a president would grow too fond of making war. After Venezuela, after the earlier Iran conflict, after bombing Nigeria and Iraq and Syria, he's grown too fond of this. And Congress, Don, as you're saying, needs to step up, assert its role, or it's going to be gone for good. And then anytime a president, for any reason, anywhere in the world, for any length of time, will feel free to make war, and that would be hugely dangerous for the country.
Oh, wow, hugely dangerous, but when Obama did it was fine. Yeah, pencil neck and a watermelon head. What's up from California? Free Iran, let's go. Hey, what's up, Jerry? How you doing? After Ukraine? Yeah, you know what? These people. Schiff is everything that's wrong with America. F him. Well, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much for the $2. No mention. No mention of Ukraine. Yeah, they don't mention Ukraine. They're not going to mention no Ukraine. Well, everybody, this is extremely dangerous to our democracy. Yes. There's this talk of these people. Their language is extremely dangerous to our democracy. Well, everybody, we went the entire first extra hour and I had another 20 minutes. Yes, make Iran purge again. And we didn't hit the goal for another hour. So I think I'm going to call it a night to everybody before we get into, the hour slipping forward to the next time in another 30 minutes. Jeff got to him. Yeah. Instead of going to war with Syria, we covertly armed the opposition. Yeah, that's what happened in Libya. We were taking all the weapons out of Libya and giving it to the Iranians. I'm going to thank everybody who's here. Please remember to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I do these shows almost every night. I don't think there's going to be a show tomorrow night. There might be, but I don't think so. Monday night, it looks like more possible show Monday night, but I don't know about tomorrow night. I'm still working out some stuff. So I will see you all. Thank you. Have a great night. Come on back for Jim to tell you the news.